Welcome to After the Final Bell, a podcast about what happens when an adrenaline-fueled career comes to an end and real life begins. Hosted by UFC striking coach Mike Gonzales and YouTube bounty hunter Trevor O'Connor.
It's not just about fights anymore. It's about what happens when the gloves come off.
And the real adventure begins.
Join Mike and Trevor as they chat about the highs, the lows, and everything in between. Life after the final bell isn't always easy, but it's always interesting. This is After the Final Bell.
Yeah, it's exactly what you said. Some people's entire social media presence is just on hating the other party.
Yes.
Or
Whatever
anybody.
it is.
Yeah, and it's...
Is once a political party has become your personality, you got a problem. And you need to stop and think. Because have you been thinking for yourself? And a lot of people think I lean one way or the other, which is weird because based on how you know me, you think a very specific thing. I think we have to figure out a political system that moves back towards the middle. Politics on social media is, it's exactly what it is. If you can't have a conversation with them, then they normally don't. Their value is very low anyway.
But do those people think that they are getting somewhere?
Yes.
Like, do those
They're
people
gonna convert
think
all of us.
that like they're making a difference? Like in their brain, do they actually think that?
I
Some
think
of those-
they get a little shot of dopamine or something from it.
They get, yeah.
You know,
it's
it's like-
addicting.
It's not going to do anything.
No.
Click the join button now to become a member and gain access to all the behind-the-scenes footage. Join us weekly for our members-only live podcast, but only when you click that join button.
What are the core responsibilities that would come with the right to bear arms? What do you think a person should have an understanding of just to own a firearm?
Yeah, I mean, safe handling, for sure. Safe handling, storage, those are really good things because that's how you're going to protect people from dying.
What's up, guys? I'm Trevor O'Connor.
I'm Kay Miller.
See, Mike is not here. Mike's not here.
I know. I'm kind of nervous sitting across
Why?
in his seat. This is Mike's special spot.
That's Mike's space.
Yeah.
That is Mike's space, and he holds that space down.
I know. I have big shoes to fill here.
Big earphones.
Big earphones. Yes, I did have. I had to make them smaller. My tiny head.
Mike is in Des Moines for Corey Sandhagen's fight, UFC Des Moines tonight. So if
He had
you
to
are a
sneak
member,
out last minute.
Yeah, he was like, but we're figuring it out. So he is there, and Kay Miller has agreed graciously to step in. Most of you know who she is, but if not, she is my employee. She's the CEO. She's the CEO of my company. I'm still I might be the president. I'm probably not the president.
Just say you're the boss.
I'm scared. Obviously, most importantly, she is my beautiful wife and the CEO of my life. She also hosts an amazing podcast called Girl, Did You Hear? You didn't, because
Not a girl.
No.
I didn't assume.
I might have heard anyway, but
Yeah. Someone might have told you.
spill the tea.
Yeah. So thank you for coming and sitting.
Thank you for having me.
We should warn everybody now. You've been a little salty the last day or so.
Okay, you're gonna start like that? All right.
She's been a little bit salty.
No. You've been poking and poking and poking for like the last 3 days.
No.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I've been afraid to come out of my room.
He's so ridiculous.
You have your own room?
He's
It's
about
this
to.
one.
He's about to have his own room.
Yeah.
I was wondering what that pillow is for.
We do have an in-studio guest today, a very old friend of mine. So old that he used to be a guest almost weekly on Unfiltered and Unaffected, a show that I did with Matt Need for a long time down in 5 Points.
Yes.
Jam Bacchus. We're not here to talk about a lot of that, but I will say he made me hold a snake.
He did.
And he was terrified.
He also helped me purchase my first firearm.
He did. He did that as well. He also flew a Falcon across the studio in our 5 Point studios, in the big studio in the back. And right on camera, perfectly framed in shot.
Couldn't make it up.
The falcon swooped across right to his glove where he was holding a mouse, and the falcon landed and ripped the head straight off the mouse.
I mean,
Like-
That's amazing.
yeah.
On, like, not a little bit on camera, on,
Do we have your old studio footage somewhere?
I don't know.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, those good times.
Because there was a lot of really good shows that, like, and things that took place. It'd
That
be
place
cool
was
to like
crazy.
look back on that type of video from back then.
You know,
'Cause we thought it was great then in that era.
oh, if we watched it now, the quality would be
Yeah.
disgusting.
It brings back memories though, because even the way I got on that show, I was working at Labo at the time. I was working at
Oh
Labo,
yeah, you were a
And-
bouncer.
and Mike Shields was
Lab-
friends with
Labo
Matt.
is a strip club in downtown Denver. And so, how did that?
Yeah, so Michael Shield was friends with
Oh,
Matt,
okay.
and then he told Matt about the birds, and Matt's like, "We could do a bird of the week." I'm like,
yeah.
"Oh, okay.
That's totally something Matt would say too.
Well, he volunteered at a place called Nature's Educators.
Educators, yeah.
That's cool.
So he worked at La Boheme.
Yeah.
This was in my past life, by the way. Obviously,
We've all grown. We've all grown.
Right.
We've all matured. I mean, you were around like the fight game to an extent at that same time.
oh yeah.
And then he came in, and I can't. Erin, was her name Erin? What was her name?
Who?
Diane, the girl at Nature's Educators. Do you
Oh,
remember?
Devin.
Devin.
Yeah,
Devin. I was
Devin
close.
Payne.
I was so
You were
close.
close?
So Devin and Jam would bring a different thing into the studio.
Every week.
Some of the most tense times of my life.
Actually, that picture is on Facebook.
The
Of me holding the snake?
Yes, I'm gonna make sure we pop that in for sure. Because
Thanks.
if anybody doesn't know, Trevor hates snakes.
I'm not scared of anything in the
he's
entire
terrified
world.
of them.
Like, I'll
Terrified.
do anything.
Like, he will scream, "Little girl." Tell him what I did for Halloween when we were decorating for Halloween.
Snakes everywhere.
No, she went and got one of those like lifelike super rubber like.
The rubbery black.
And I was
snakes.
in here working, and she came in. She's like, "Oh my god, what are you doing?" And threw the. Yeah.
Nice.
I was like holding it like as if I caught it, and we were doing Halloween decorations out front, me and the kids, and I grabbed it and I was like, "Gracie, let's go prank your dad." And we ran in, and I was like, "Look what I found outside!" And like, and he
Dude, I'm telling you, I will do.
ran out of the room.
I will do anything, and I will be the one to go first. Like, I'm the test dummy.
Yeah, I thought you were kidding when you were like, "Oh, I'm scared of snakes." I'm like,
No. Like
Yeah,
it's so weird because I don't like anything else. I do not have a switch that says don't do.
right.
I have the switch that says do without verifying, do without thinking,
Just try it.
do.
Not with snakes.
What is I need the patch that says fuck it, we'll do it live. Like that's my mentality. But there's something about snakes. I don't care what kind of snake it is. I don't care how big it is.
It could be a gardener snake.
It could be this
Like
long.
it could no. One time we were in Florida and we were at an Airbnb and we had a pool in the backyard and he comes like running in the house. He's like, "You guys, there's a huge snake in the pool." It's like, "Get it out." And we're staying with my brother and we go and check and the girls and I, it's like a little baby snake like this big.
It was like 12 feet.
No, it was teeny tiny snake.
Dude, I don't know what it is. My hands go up in the air. My knees pump to my chest.
He turns into like a 6-year-old girl.
Yeah, you have like this physiological response.
Maybe-
Seriously, like
Maybe
it's
you
not
got-
like I'm trying.
Maybe you had a bad experience with snakes in a past life and it's just like a trauma fear that you've carried over.
I don't know, but if we can find the video, especially if we can find the picture, great. But
The
if we
picture,
can find
yeah.
the video,
Yeah.
it's probably not as clear as we think it might be. There's full on sweat. And I think I held the snake like this
Pretty close.
and did not move.
Yeah. It was, what was it? I think it was a corn snake. It's probably
It was
3 or 4
It was
feet.
yellow.
it was
I think.
it was
Or-
a two-headed 12-foot cobra
The fangs were,
like this, like yeah. And he hadn't fed it for a month, and he kept like using pictures of me and like hitting the snakes with it. So
What would you do if you were diving somewhere and you saw a water snake?
I mean, I dove right next to big ass eels.
Yeah, but
They're the same thing.
See, I think I'd rather be near a snake
Than a moray?
than an eel in the water. Because we're land creatures.
Yeah.
And we could defend ourselves better, I feel like.
But snakes on land move weird too. They're so fast and they can
but
do
snakes
everything.
in water? Like, kidding me? That's freaky. It's like, no.
I've come around the corner on coral so many times, and a moray eel just goes and then back into his hole. And it's like I'm not like okay with it, but I'm not like
I'd be sweating.
But the eel is not like chasing you or like swimming around.
it can.
I know it can, but a snake probably would.
No, it's the same as a snake. If a snake has a
water
hole,
snake, an anaconda.
that's what he brought in. It was an anaconda.
Like like a Florida like swamp snake. Like, what do the guys go?
Yeah, but on the land, it doesn't matter. In the swamp, on the land.
Yeah, but you guys dive in sinkholes in swampy areas.
I understand that. You're
There's
not listening.
probably snakes there.
You're not listening to what I'm saying. If it's an anaconda of that size, it doesn't matter if it's in the water or on the land. We're all dead.
dying.
Like,
I
there's
mean,
not,
yes.
Did you not see the movie with Ice Cube?
Yes, of course. But I'm using that as an example
Yeah, it was
because I feel like
terrible.
if you actually saw like a true like water snake swimming through and you're just like scuba diving and a snake goes right in front of you, you would probably have a moment.
I think it's different.
Why?
Because most of the time, I mean, even on land, snakes don't really want to be around you. I just believe that they're all going to kill me. Underwater, though, they're usually moving with a purpose. And I can see.
They're moving with a purpose on land.
Listen, Linda, listen.
Do you think you have like this false
Sense of security in the.
because you have a mask and like a
wetsuit on.
Yeah.
No, I think it's a visualization thing.
Okay.
Snakes on the ground, like they move, like hide behind this little thing, and they're poking their head out, and then they show up over here, and they climb the fence over here. In the ocean, I can see the whole field.
Got it.
I can see where, and if he's going to go that way to the coral, I can just go that way a little bit.
Any fear of sharks?
No, no, zero.
Amazing.
No, I've been nose to nose with Nerf sharks. I mean, I don't care. Sharks don't bother me. Alligators really don't bother me. Crocodiles.
We didn't even really see any alligators like in the wild when we were out there. We only saw like one. Remember the one on the side of the road?
You remember the one in the water at Convac Springs that I just dove like 2 days before?
Yeah.
I'd be terrified to be in the water if there was a crocodile or alligator in the water.
Oh, I 100% have shared water with.
Probably unknowingly.
There's some video. If you watch
sure.
the intro of the podcast,
Okay.
at the very beginning of, midway through, I come up out of the duckweed.
Yeah.
You telling me I didn't have friends in that water?
But did you know?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I don't care. Like, it's not that big of a deal to me.
Your fear of snakes is
weird.
It's not lining up with the rest of your
No.
your life.
I know. That's what I'm saying. So
I don't know
it's
what
gotta
it
be
is.
a past life thing that
It's
like
terrible.
something happened.
You got bit by a snake when you were 2.
I saw
Something
the apple
happened?
get eaten.
There you go.
I was mad. I saw the snake tell her. She didn't listen.
Okay.
That's the problem. Eve.
Yep.
I knew that snake charmed her.
Ah.
And I knew it was going to be the downfall. Just saying. Could have been there for it. But no, nothing else scares me. Like, it really doesn't. Huh?
No.
Mm-mm. I like jump off of cliffs
That scares me.
into water that I have no idea how deep it is.
Yeah. Edges scare me.
No.
To be near the edge of something.
Mm-mm. I throw my action cams and try to race them
Really?
into the water. Yeah.
Do you have the thing like when you get close to an edge, like where it like makes you like you almost feel like you like want to jump? Like, have you heard of that though? Like people have that. Like they're like scared of heights because when they're up there, they're scared, but like their body has like a weird thing where like they feel like a sensation like they want to jump.
What is that called?
I'm not bullshitting you. Like it's an actual
It's
thing.
something thoughts. Your something thoughts. It makes people want to do things that they know they shouldn't
Subliminal?
do. No.
Huh.
Frig. I don't know the name. I would know it if we didn't talk about it today. I could have just spouted it out.
Yeah, that doesn't happen.
Something thoughts. Anyway.
I used to climb towers and like change antennas out. So I've worked like 450 feet in the air hanging off a tower, but I'm tied
Tethered.
off.
harnessed in. Yeah.
Yeah, Mike, I could feel
Does that bother you?
that doesn't, I mean, I don't love it, but I was able to do it.
Yeah.
But put me on the edge of something with no safety equipment, I'm
See, I would want to go with you on your job to go change the antennas, but then I would just rappel down like Mission Impossible style.
That'd be cool.
I love,
The adrenaline.
dude, I'm an endorphin freak.
So what do you do now to get your heart beating?
We went go-kart racing.
He had to think long and hard about that because
No, it's honest to
do
God. It's
that.
the biggest problem that we have in my life right now is that there is no replacement because there's always been a replacement.
Right.
You know, wrestled my whole life, jujitsu, fighting, bounty hunting,
Go-kart racing.
on the show, bounty hunting. Like there's always been a thing.
Right.
Cave diving.
Mm.
We have a cave instructor. His name's Cam. Friggin' amazing dude. Like so awesome. Has taken me in places that are so cool. Like took me, you know, in part of our training, we went in and in one of these caves, he's showing us, and then all of a sudden he flashes this light over, and there's two, I think they're alligator or crocodile. They didn't say anything, so I don't know.
See you later, Gator.
Yeah. Two fossils
Ah,
laid together.
wow.
So they died right there together that far in the earth that.
Wow.
So seeing some of that stuff
That's cool.
it kind of replaced it.
Yeah.
It's not really adrenaline. It's awe-inspiring where you're just like, wow.
Yeah, you went somewhere where most people will never go.
Yeah.
I've been in a hole.
I will definitely not do cave diving.
I've been in a hole and like the only other person that had been in it was Cam. No, Pat had gone in, but it was muddy and he only went a little ways in and was able to come back because we didn't have any line. And then Cam ran a bit of a line into it. It's a sinkhole that we discovered that we named after Pat's dad. So we called it Bill Sink. And I have a little clip of video of it somewhere. I think it's on, so like I pulled it up the other day. It might be on one of my Google Drives. I don't know. But it's me and I'm in this hole and this hole you had to get into, you had to like invert yourself. Do you remember Bill Sink? You
had to like walk down that, like where all the cows
there's like a
in that
ravine.
big field that we were staying. It was when we were like off grid.
And then you had to lay on your belly and pull yourself upside down into the hole.
It was just like a hole like as big as this table maybe.
No. Half of the table.
True.
Because I had to pull myself in. I could just jump into this.
It was small.
But you have to lay on your belly and pull yourself upside down into the hole. And then I ran out to the end of his line and I got to see like perfectly air clear before it got disturbed in any way. And it was like a cathedral. It was huge.
Wow.
Probably 40 or 50 feet from the top to the floor and probably 15, 20 feet wide.
Wow.
Just with cool, just where the water had cut through. And you're just like, holy shit.
Like, how does that exist?
And no one had been
the
there
earth?
before.
That's
No one had been there. Can you imagine being able to go somewhere on the earth that no one had ever been?
nuts.
Seeing something that no one has ever seen. And cave diving is like one of the only things that are left in the world that pertain to.
Yeah, because no one wants to do it.
Well, no, because the rest of the world above ground, I mean, there's billions of people and they're scurrying everywhere they can.
Yeah.
Unless it's the firmament, then you can't go there.
Yeah, I'm not going.
You're not going cave diving?
No.
I'll show you a video when we're done.
Do you like the water, like the ocean and stuff like that?
I like the ocean. I was in the Coast Guard, so I've lived out at sea for a while. But
Nice.
You're a diver?
I'm not a diver. I'm a decent swimmer. I mean, when I say decent, I could.
You're undefeated.
Sure. Yeah, and then
Water hasn't won yet.
not yet. I thought I would die out there a few times,
But
you know what I mean?
still
Been out at
undefeated.
sea. Yeah.
Yeah.
But never dived. I like the water though.
Yeah. Cool.
I dive and I love to dive.
Yeah.
And diving in the cave system is just a different world. It's cool. Like unexplainably cool.
It's going through the small hole.
Restrictions?
Yeah, that's the part.
You mean you don't want to take off your gear and shove it through and then try to catch up with it?
No, absolutely not.
Me either.
I mean, you can. I'm not saying that.
Not being able to see, 5 feet in front of you without your light on. No.
I'll show you a video when we're done. I have a video where we're down probably only like 150 feet down and getting ready to go.
Only 150 feet.
Yeah, and getting ready to go into the opening of a cave. And I turned around with my camera and look up, and you can see like a spot of blue that's the hole we came down from.
Oh wow!
So it's just this little tiny.
It's
and
really
then
cool.
once we went into this cave, you go back so far, and then we were on the dive line. Everything was safe. We were all just like right there. And then on the count of 3, we all just turned our lights off. And I tell everybody this all the time, but it's so hard to explain. It's the darkest dark. Like there's no way to describe anything darker.
And all you can hear is your scuba breathing.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
The most peaceful place in the entire world.
Probably one of the most scary too.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
If there were snakes.
Right.
Snakes. Those silly snakes.
All right.
What do you got on your list over there?
Well, hold on. We haven't even introduced our guest.
Oh, geez.
I started to, and then
You
tangents
spiraled
happened.
already.
Our guest today, of course, I started to intro Jam Bacchus, who is a longtime friend who chased me with snakes and tried to kill me, and probably threw venom on open wounds.
Accurate.
Mm-hmm.
All things that definitely happened.
Yeah.
Jam fits the mold of the idea of the show is what happens when adrenaline-fueled career comes to an end and real life begins. You've lived several lives.
Could say that.
Yeah. I mean, when you can take a block of time, and most people would consider that
a lifetime.
like a life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if I go through the list and tell people like chronologically the things that I've done,
Right.
I would have to be 100 years old and have done this like 5 times.
Sure.
Because some people wake up, they're born, they grow up, they know what they want to be, they become that. That's their life forever.
Then they retire, and then that's it.
They have one life.
Sure.
Other people were not smart. So it takes us a while to beat our head on things to find a direction.
Thank you.
I was talking more about me, but you've done some things.
Done a few things in my life.
Yeah. Military guy, which is some of our favorite people in the whole world.
Yes, you said you were Coast Guard, right?
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
My old partner, Pat.
I feel like that's
had
pretty
a-
adrenaline fueled.
Yeah, there was different points in my career that were a little more exciting than others. But
Yeah.
I've been out in some crazy things.
Did you get the drug runners?
We did some bus.
Because that's the only fun stuff in the Coast Guard, really, right?
I mean, it's definitely a highlight.
The only other thing you're doing is going and get idiots who went way too far out and can't figure out where the hell they are.
Yeah, search and rescue, law enforcement.
Yeah. But chasing down
yeah, we did
the square groupers.
Yeah, when I first got in, so I wasn't a boarding officer at the time, but when I first got in, we did a patrol off of Columbia, and we got a boat that had so much weed on it. The people driving the boat were sitting on the bales of weed.
Oh, they bailed got rid of the seats because it took up room.
Yeah.
That's funny. They're like, we'll just make the seats
We'll
out of
make
this.
you a seat.
Yes.
That's hilarious.
That I would love that job.
Coast Guard?
Only
Or
if I got
chasing
to.
down. But like, how often does that happen in comparison?
Right, but that's all I want to do.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to sit at home the rest of the time.
Oh, and you'll just get called out for those.
When there's a
one-
mission,
Just jump in the helicopter in the backyard.
There you go.
ready to go.
You've guys seen the video of the one Coast Guard guy jumping on top of
The sub.
yeah, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah, banging on the door.
Yeah, it's not like that all the time at all.
No, it is in my world.
There you go. You're like, I want to do that.
That's me. I'd be like, here's the thing. I don't want paid. I don't need anything, but I'm only going to show up for the cool shit.
Sure. Yeah, I don't think they really paid me, so
Yeah.
you're good there.
You got negative pay probably, but you got an education
Yeah.
in
yeah.
life.
It got me out of Queens. That's how I left home, as I joined the Coast Guard. And
Was that a join the Coast Guard or not really know if my life's going to
no,
happen?
no, it was just kind of, I was getting bored, and I tried school a few times. I got my GED. I tried college and wasn't really doing anything. And one day I was like, I'm going to join the Coast Guard. Didn't even really know what that was.
You just went for it.
You knew it was on a
Nice.
coast.
I knew that they were on
You knew there was
boats.
an opportunity for warm and water.
Yeah, well, I went to Boston first. And it
That is
wasn't-
not warm
No,
and not clean.
no.
That's gross water.
It was it was a college town though, which was perfect because I was 19.
College age.
Yeah, so it was cool.
You could choke their boyfriends.
How long
Take
were
the
you?
girlfriend home.
How long were you in the Coast Guard for?
Oh, we look at things differently. Huh?
I'm like, whose boyfriend are we choking? 4 years.
Nice.
Yeah,
Normal time.
yeah.
No lifer here.
That's enough, I think. Like in that type of.
I think, and I don't have any idea because I've never been in the military. I've not I
Same.
don't claim to have any true understanding, but it seems like people do 4 years or do a lot of years.
Yeah, at the time I joined, was it Clinton? I can't remember, but
I mean, you're old as shit.
I am. But the retirement, it wasn't good. It was like you get 35% of what your final pay was when you get out, and you had to wait till
Screw that.
63. Where if I had joined 2 years earlier, it was like 50% of your final pay, and that starts the day you got out.
Right.
I would have been 39 and retired from the Coast Guard. You know.
Right. That's not so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just kind of.
We have a lot of military friends. A lot of operator friends
I could see that.
who obviously they get paid okay. Probably risk to reward, they don't get paid very well.
Sure.
And boredom to reward, they definitely don't get paid very well. But like those guys all love their life
Sure.
until they don't.
Yeah.
And then they just want so far away from it.
Mm.
Which to me is also a weird place in the world today where you see a lot of these guys coming out, operators, spec op guys, whatever. And I mean, you see guys like Sean Ryan who are coming out and putting up podcasts where they're not painting the government in the big scheme of things in a way that military guys have always kind of backed the government. And, it was like, we're one big team. You're seeing a lot more guys come out now and they're like,
Well, it used to be nobody would talk about special
Right.
forces, and now there's, how many Navy SEAls have written a
everybody,
book?
everybody's got a book or a
Yeah,
podcast.
yeah.
But even more for me is their willingness to say, look out,
Some bullshit.
there's some shit that you guys don't know.
Right.
And you're being completely stupid and doing exactly as you're being told in a way that's going to make it difficult for you.
Mm.
They're like peeling back the curtain, as you would say, I guess. I listen to Sean Ryan stuff a lot. I find him entertaining, and he has a voice that I can listen to when I'm doing other things.
Okay.
The register of his voice just like it
Sticks
happens in my head, which is nice. But sometimes like he'll talk about, and he's not like Mr. USA.
Huh.
I mean, he's still like, this is his country and he loves it. But sometimes I listen and he's like,
Pretty transparent.
yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. I mean, just like anybody else, it's
I think more people need to be more transparent.
what I try not to do politics a lot because I'm so neither party.
I loved your post. I think it was
The other day.
yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so true.
Yeah.
When politics becomes a
Especially
personality, you got a problem.
In the last couple years, but like very recently, but like it's been progressively getting worse, I think, over the years.
Yeah, it's exactly what you said. Some people's entire social media presence is just on hating the other party.
Yes.
Or
Whatever
anybody.
it is.
Yeah, and I didn't unfriend these people because you could just unfollow them and they don't know that you unfriended them, and it's like, I just don't want to see your shit anymore.
Yeah.
That's just so negative and
See, I've gotten so far on the other side of that now where I'm like, I'll send you a message telling you that
you've been deleted.
I'm leaving, like you're no longer,
I am unfriending you because
you're a complete moron and you don't have the ability to think for yourself. That would be the most common message.
I'll have to check my inbox later.
But it's, to me, that's the biggest truth is once a political party has become your personality, you got a problem and you need to stop and think. Because have you been thinking for yourself? And a lot of people think I lean one way or the other, which is weird because based on how you know me, you think a very specific thing. And neither of them are true. I'm so middle, it's weird. Fiscally conservative, socially liberal. If you're not hurting people, I don't give a fuck what you do. You know, don't hurt kids, don't hurt other people. You know, don't intend to go out and cause problems.
Yeah.
Right.
Other than that, I don't give a shit. I really don't. For twofold, I think all drugs should be legal because Darwinism helps. Warning labels need to come off.
So do you want to ban Narcan?
No, that's the thing. Like, if you're smart enough to do drugs and keep yourself alive, like, there's a purpose for you.
Yeah,
There
if
you
you're
go.
carrying your drugs along with your Narcan, like
I mean, obviously, I'm being
No.
joking about,
Right.
but
Same.
but realistically, if you can do drugs and keep yourself alive,
There you go.
you're resilient.
I like that.
You probably have purpose. Like you're someone that probably needs to be around.
yeah. Eventually the drugs will take that person out or something else would, down the road.
Well, no, I'm saying like if you can do drugs and keep yourself alive, you have value.
You have value.
Yeah, because some people,
Can't do that.
and we appreciate that. I shouldn't say that because people get their feelings hurt, but it's kind of the truth with anything though. The world has become so polarized and also wrapped in bubble tape that I don't know how it's ever going to find normalcy. I don't know how it's going to find balance. I know that, in my opinion, the large majority of the population and even a larger percentage of the male population have become softer than baby shit in the last 5 years. And I would be really, 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 really scared if another country nutted up enough to say, we've got enough people, let's go fuck with America. Because there's a lot of us that can do things, but there's you can look around in public and go, if shit goes off, I'm fucking by myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas before, I mean, and this sucks. I'm like, in our generation, because that's not how I think, but it's kind of how things are. We're the same generation. We're like a year apart.
Yeah. Toughest generation.
We
out there.
grew up being tough.
You had to be.
I mean, I think the mantra from our generation was, if you're not going to be smart, you better be tough. And that's just how we were. We know how to do things. We can build things. We can fix things. We can figure things out. Not that it's like this great hill to die on, but we can fight. Most of us can shoot to some extent. I mean, some people think they can shoot. And myself included, like I think I can shoot, and then I meet friends like you and I know I can't. But if you look at what's happening around us today, you look around, If you had to go to King Supers right up here on 136th in Colorado, if I said, Jam, go up there and see if you can find, we need 10 guys total. So me and you, see if you can find 8 guys that can defend our position today. You're going to walk in there and hope to see military tattoos.
Sure.
Hope that the fire truck is there, maybe.
Right.
Because if you just look around, you're like, how did we get here?
Right.
And I'm not saying that we need to grow up with the same mentality that we were raised in, because trust me, we all have a lot of fucking trauma from the way we were raised.
Sure.
I mean, it wasn't, we were raised, I don't know about you, but I was raised with a very heavy hand and like, you'll figure shit out or you'll starve. But I mean, I just don't know how things move forward unless things start to find a middle. I'm crazy today, huh?
Just today?
Yeah. It's
This is
weird.
every day.
It's just weird to me. Like, it's so weird to me that we're probably at the point where people feel the most comfortable running their mouths. And equally at the same point where none of those people can fucking fight.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to hide behind the camera and the keyboard, and you're not going to do anything. And
Yeah.
it's disgusting.
There's so many things that happen that just crack
Well,
me
and
up
I
anymore.
think like what happens too is you think about all those people that are just sitting at home or wherever they're at that are just being negative and trolling the internet and saying all this negative BS out there. They're like that they're creating that in their current life as well, like offline.
Sure.
I think too. And I think that a lot of people, because of that, if there's like just mega trolls out there going off, they're just negative people in the world existing. And those are all probably all the negative ass people that we see.
They're not
And we're
out
like,
making
what
society better.
Yeah. They're also the ones that are also contributing negatively to society.
For sure.
The thing is, and I joke about this, but if you were at Costco, you don't run into those people because they don't have the courage that they do.
Well, they're there.
Right.
You just don't know they're there.
Right.
Because, again, soft as baby shit, quiet as a mouse. You know, they're big and bad as soon as they're behind their keyboard or whatever. Or if they have a camera and they can try to angle something to make it look like you are the lunatic.
Yeah. There may be a TikTok video of me recently.
Yeah.
What did you do?
Did you lose your shit? Mildly or?
I don't really feel like I lost my shit, but
then you're fine.
yeah. So I'm on my church safety team. So we do security and medical, and we're gonna call them protesters show up. They weren't really protesters. It was 3 people, and they came to the driveway, and as cars were leaving, they were handing out their propaganda. Right.
Disrupting traffic flow.
Thank you. So I went out there and introduced myself. You know,
pleasantly.
I think
the first time.
Yeah. And I was like, listen, you guys got to go. And they're like, no, we don't have to leave. I'm like, yeah, you're going to get trespassed. They're like, this is, public property and this and that. And I was like, the driveway is not.
Right.
You want to stay on the sidewalk, but when you're approaching cars, call the cops. They're not going to do anything. But in the midst of that, I may have used some strong language that they didn't expect coming from
the church guy.
And I ended up going because the phones came out, and I was like, I just don't want that.
I just went off.
Did they bring their phones out, or was it bystanders?
No. One of them.
Yeah. They knew exactly.
I wanted to know specifically if it was them or not.
Yeah.
So they wanted the interaction.
Exactly.
What was so cool though is the cops came and they actually trespassed him.
Did you wave?
Good.
I didn't wave. Yeah, no, I took the high road. But they were
he's such a better person than me.
Not really. Trust me. One moment I was. But yeah, the cops were like, can you tell us exactly what happened? I was like, yeah, they were approaching cars and handing them stuff. Yep. Okay, you want them trespassed? Absolutely. So,
good for you.
Yeah, it was cool.
I just went on a diatribe the other day, like a week or so ago.
A what?
Did I say the wrong word?
I don't know what that is. What is it?
I went on an angry tangent.
Oh, a diet what?
Now you think now you made me guess my
Now
words.
you got him fucked up.
Anyway, sorry. Now I don't even know if I know what word is English. The First Amendment auditors, and I had people arguing with me on a Facebook post about it, talking about how those people are necessary and we need. And I'm like, here's the deal: if their intention is to go out and cause a reaction that they can film, we don't need them.
Right.
Correct.
If someone happens upon a situation where a member of law enforcement is doing something that is very obvious and blatantly violating someone's civil rights or pushing up against it,
We don't need that either.
then every camera in the world should come out and go, hey, you can't do that, dude. You can't do it. Like, that's community policing against everything. But if you wake up in the morning and go, let me get my camera ready, let me go.
Oh yeah, they're instigating. They're and that's kind of how I felt these people were.
Yeah.
You know, like
They were.
yeah.
100%. They knew exactly what they were doing and they knew exactly the response they wanted, especially if you ended up on TikTok.
Yeah, I don't know that I'm on TikTok, but
More than likely.
who knows?
Yeah, but it's that kind of thing. Like, they weren't pulling their phones out to not post it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I just don't think they pulled them out in time enough, so I may not.
Yeah, you may have come to your
Skated into
senses
that one.
in just the right amount of time. But where do we go? Like, as a country, how do we get back to the middle? And where do we go to become?
Well,
Because we're seeing. I've talked to a couple of friends recently who have moved out of country.
they actually did.
And not all of them directly because of for political reasons. Adam Sack, who was a friend of ours, they retired and they bought a place in Mexico, but they've just been traveling the world.
That's cool.
Jealous.
We know someone else that moved to Costa Rica.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And I've spoken to a couple of friends that have done it, and I'm like, I'm really interested in how your thoughts and your mindset have changed towards the American way when you're looking at it from the outside. And both of the people I've talked to recently said what people living in America believe is the American dream or the American way is probably one of the biggest long cons in the world.
Wow. That hurts.
It does.
That hurts to hear that.
It does. But they've obviously did well enough to go, and then looking back going,
we're living the dream now. We weren't right. No, I get that. I don't know. I do feel like the country, and I know.
I don't mean to lead you down past it.
No. If I get too political, tell me.
No, you can't.
Yeah. Plus, I'm not very good at politics, but I do feel like the country is getting tired of the bullshit. Like the things that don't make sense. I'll use the woke movement. Ain't so woke anymore. People are getting tired of that, and I do feel like we're starting to swing back to kind of common sense a little bit. Like, that just is.
I'm like 100% for a multi-party political system. Because you need the checks and balance. We need Democrats. We need Republicans. We need both sides of that. We truly do. Because we need someone to be the yin to the yang.
Imagine if we had a president that was either a Democrat or Republican and the vice president was the opposite.
That's how it used to be.
Really?
Yes.
When? Like in the 1800s or?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Really?
So
I didn't know that.
Whoever won the presidency.
Leave it to Trevor for fun historical facts.
in the past, and I don't remember when it changed, what presidency it changed with, but there was a time in America where the winner was the president, the loser became the vice president.
Oh, look at that.
And they learned to work together.
I think that makes more sense.
Or they shot each other. I don't know. But yeah, there was a time, and why can't there be a time again?
That'd be interesting. I wonder if anything would.
Could you imagine Trump and Kamala?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
That's why it won't work. There's a perfect.
Both of them would just yell.
They are not the right people to test out that theory.
But
Maybe
it makes sense though.
Obama and somebody else.
But it just makes sense. It truly does. because you're at least getting representation of both sides. Right now, everything is a power grab.
Everything is just very black and white.
Whoever can get it, we can get this party elected. It's a power. Everything we can do.
Yeah,
And then everything we can do to cancel it over here, and then cancel all their shit, get all our shit in, and then cancel their shit, get all your shit. It's just back and forth. It's stupid.
yeah.
I'd love to see a third party become actually viable, but I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. But I think we have to figure out a political system that moves back towards the middle, because most of us are definitely more towards the middle. If you sit down with a person and talk about the issues, most of us, like I said before, they want people to be happy.
Right.
They want people to be able to earn a good living, take care of their family. They want to make sure that if something goes wrong health-wise, that their family's taken care of. They want their retirement protected and funded. They want chomos to go to jail.
Okay.
See? Did you see?
That's good, Trev.
Good job.
Yeah.
That's called monetization. I tried not to say something that was going to get this whole video read. But truly, like, isn't that kind of what people want? I want to be happy. I want you to be happy. I want you to have freedom to do the things that you want to do.
Yeah, I think it's more divided than that.
I think
No,
so,
it's
too.
100% more divided than that, but it's not if you boil it down to a person.
Right. But I think a lot of people want to be happy and they don't care if you're happy or not.
No, that's the problem.
Right.
That's the problem.
Sure.
But that's also the mob mentality of it more than it is when you bring a single person and you sit them down across the table from you and you say, all right, let's talk about these 5 things. It's very hard. I mean, there's going to be extremes, and there's going to be those people that I posted about on Facebook where their whole life has become their political party, and it's just, stay in step and do what we do what we're told. They said this, so we put this meme up. They tell us to do this. Mm-hmm. Those people it's never going to happen with, because they're so weak-minded and so fragile that the only thing they have to grab onto is that group of people that will like hug them, kind of,
Sure.
We're the same. We hate everybody.
Yeah. Reassurance.
But if you take a normal person, anybody, and I've had a lot of people sitting in that chair that have completely different beliefs than I do. But guess what? We sit and we have a pretty damn good conversation.
Sure.
And we don't hate each other at the end. I don't always agree. They don't always agree. And sometimes we go, that's a very interesting perspective. Not mine, but I see where you're coming from.
Sure.
And I think one of the biggest things that needs to happen in this country is I see where you're coming from. And it doesn't. I disagree with you, Jam, but I see where you're coming from. I can understand.
Okay.
How hard is that? You can't argue with that, can you? You can say,
unless you really want to argue.
Yeah, unless
someone really wants to try to sway you
unless
to
they're
their
trying
side or whatever.
Yeah, unless they're trying to recruit you to the cult.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when Trump ran the first time, me and one of my friends, I mean, it was getting ugly on Facebook.
Yeah.
Disgusting. And then we went fishing together and didn't talk about politics at all. And it was great.
That's great though when you can have people like that in your life.
But no,
because right now,
it's not.
No. Like to an extent,
right?
Yes, like if their political views or them ranting on social media is all political, but they can still hang out with you and you can still have a good time with that person and it not be political, that's fine. To me, that's okay. Even if I don't agree with that political person's
there's
point
a lot
of
of
views or agree that they're posting every day all their BS,
And I get that. But to me, I mean, yes, you should be able to put differences aside and come together and do things, but it shouldn't be so extreme between friends that if you didn't know, if he wasn't your friend and he was talking to you that way and you ended up at a lake fishing next to him.
Right. Right.
There'd be less fishing. Right?
Possibly.
Yeah.
But because he's your friend, you're willing to look past it. But it makes you also want to sit down with that person and go, why are you so angry online?
And Yeah, and I don't want.
And it could have been either side.
Yeah, I don't want to put it all on him either. I think
Right.
the point is we were friends before politics. You know, like when we met, neither one of us cared about
Any of it.
Yeah.
or we never talked about it. You know, but social media has
Created-
given people the platform to voice their opinions in stronger ways.
But it's also forced people to believe that they have to have an opinion.
Yeah, so
And that opinion has to be
that they have to
in
voice it.
step.
I don't do politics on social media anymore.
Me either.
Because it's just a fight. It's just, especially if it's your page, like, and you said something
My
that
house.
I don't believe.
Yeah.
Like,
Goodbye.
Keep going.
I just
Scroll
yeah.
on. Yeah, it's politics on social media is, I mean, it's exactly what it is. If you can't have a conversation with them, then they normally don't. Their value is very low anyway.
Sure.
If they're just if everything is gonna be like deflect your point, not ignore, deny, and then everything they say is absolutely 100% true and absolutely 100% fact.
Right.
You're not getting anywhere anyway. It's never gonna happen.
But do those people think that they are getting somewhere?
Yes.
Like, do those
They're
people
gonna convert
think
all of us.
that like they're making a difference? Like in their brain, do they actually think
I
that?
think they get a little shot of dopamine or something from it.
They get, yeah.
You know,
it's
it's like-
addicting.
That's crazy to me.
It's addicting to be able to. And look at it this way, though.
It's so energy sucking to deal with all of that.
But look at it this way. A lot of those people had social media before it became kind of the thing to do, to be this.
Oh, they had MySpace?
They might have had that too.
Hey, you're talking about my generation.
But
there.
there was a long time in Facebook when it wasn't political at all.
Yes.
Like, it was just
and
what
it wasn't
was.
filled with ads,
Or
or
it
whatever,
wasn't.
yeah.
It wasn't. I don't care about ads. It's just.
I do.
It was. There was a time when Facebook kind of was just Facebook before it was fashionable to be hyper political, and a lot of those people got no interaction. No one would like their posts.
Mm-hmm.
No one would comment on their whatever, status they put up that pertained to only them and nothing else. And then it became romantic to be hyper political. And they found if they made that one post and they got just, even if it was all arguments, they had 74 interactions in a
Right.
post.
They're like, oh, I'm gonna need to make more posts like that.
So obviously, this is the only way that I'm going to get people to understand me.
That makes sense.
And it creates an addiction. They're like constantly finding that next thing to put out there.
Sure.
And I'm probably no better because I'm very anti-politics on social media, but I will post things in such a androgynous way that people want to be mad. They want to be mad, but they just don't they can't quite figure out
What to be mad about
well,
specifically.
there's people on the right that just want to be like, oh, MAGA, you one of those maggots, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, where is it? Where do you get that from?
Right.
I know what you were insinuating. I'm like, really? Because this person over here thinks that I'm the biggest libtard who ever lived from the same post.
Wow.
So what's the problem here?
Perspective.
Projection.
Perception, the way people perceive things. Everyone's perspective in the world is different. So
I intentionally make things very, very, very clouded
it's pretty funny.
because I want to see how people act and react.
Oh. It's kind of like if you prank phone call two people.
And merge calls.
That's so funny.
The Chinese restaurant
Yes.
one? Oh my God.
Two Chinese restaurants.
Yeah.
Yes.
So funny.
Oh,
I saw an ex-wife and an ex-husband the kids did the other day. It was
Oh,
great.
no.
they called them merged and
That's a
stepped
great
away.
one.
You called me.
No, you call me.
That's great. Good job on the kids for doing
I
that.
love that stuff. Anyway, we don't need to live in that area.
No.
We invited you here today, Jam.
Oh boy. Now it comes out.
We have some people from your family that like to come in and talk about some of the choices you've been making.
I'm sure they love me a lot.
They all love you enough to be here today.
Yes. Awesome.
No, I don't do interventions. No, you and I, even though we haven't seen each other in years, we have conversations periodically. Yeah. Just something will pop up and we'll talk behind the scenes. Kay Miller bought one of her very first firearms from you.
Yes.
You are a very big proponent of the Second Amendment.
Yes.
The right to own bears.
Bears are good.
Have big arms.
Curls.
For the girls.
Curls and grizzlies.
There you go. So
Get a new shirt. Curls and grizzlies. But not only that, you're outspoken about being a 2A supporter, which is this house, very 2A.
Very 2A.
I know a lot of people, and I know a lot of like lefties who are very 2A now too, which is amazing. I love it.
I don't discriminate when it comes to guns.
No, everybody should have 6. Because if you have 5, you have none.
You should carry 2.
If you have 6, you have 1.
There you go.
Gotta have a backup for the backup for the backup.
Yeah.
But we're in a crazy place in the country, but even more so in our own state.
Colorado politics.
Colorado is insane right now.
So I've lived here since 1974. A long time. Yes, kids. Years went back that far.
I've only lived here since 2009.
But Colorado used to be very like Old West. 2A, salt of the earth.
You would think so. It's the Rocky Mountains. There's
But it was that way for how long? Like forever. Colorado was just always going to be a right-leaning state.
Sure.
Obviously, we have not been right-leaning for a very long time. Some things okay, some things not so okay. And the fact that our local state government and governor believe that they can make a federal decision at a state level when it comes to people's ability to have the Second Amendment available to them is insane. I don't know how to describe. When people from around the country that are my friends, when they talk to me, the very first thing they say is, "What is going on?" And I'm like this.
Yeah. We were one of the leaders to have medical marijuana.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we're also going to make it so hard to have a gun. It's just like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And honestly, I just think it's, political agendas. It's not really about what they say they're trying to accomplish, because all these laws that they've come out with really aren't going to do a whole lot.
Right. And I mean, the old adage that everyone says, and it's true, if you make it impossible for good, upstanding people to buy firearms, the only people that are going to have them are the people that are going to use them for bad.
Sure.
And then we create a state where we're now captives to criminals. If I can't defend my home, but you don't care about the gun laws, you can just come in my house.
Right.
Take what you want. What am I going to do? I mean, my friend Matthew, business partner, is in the chat right now, guaranteed. He's in the UK, and I know what they do. They say stop.
Stop.
And if the person doesn't stop, they just say stop again.
Oh.
And if the person with the gun doesn't stop, then they just say stop again.
Huh.
While the person just does what they want.
Stop.
Yeah, stop. Stop. Because it works. You just tell people to stop. If they have a gun and you don't, stop.
Stop. Why don't you tell people what one of the gun laws is that they're trying to...
Oh, it's already passed.
Oh. Well, what is it? Let's.
You're talking about the new assault weapons ban?
Well,
There's that.
there's a lot.
There's a lot.
There's a lot of
us.
moving pieces.
So, you guys said I was prepared, but here's all the gun law changes from 2020 to 2025, 2023, the last 5 years, basically. So there's been a lot of changes.
And this is Colorado specific?
This is Colorado specific, yeah. What you're talking about most recently is the attack on, they call it an assault weapons ban, right? So basically, and I think they were trying to attack the AR pistols and guns like that because, and and I should know more about this, right? But the verbiage is a little bland, It's
intentionally.
it's talking about, anything that's gas operated with a detachable magazine. So that's your AR-15s, that's your AKs, that's your AR pistols, but it would include those pistols.
It would also include regular semi-automatic pistols.
Well, it depends if you say they are gas operated or not. So I'm waiting to hear more.
Interesting.
And see more about that.
If an AR pistol
has a gas block,
right,
that shoots gas back to the bolt. So I'm wondering if your normal handgun will be included in that or not. But
That's crazy.
from everything I've read, it's all one big. And the lump is if it has a removable magazine. So everything outside of a revolver.
Yeah,
Right.
so every gun pretty much has a removable magazine.
No, only your 357, no problem. Your 88 Magnum, no problem.
All right, good.
So it's Senate Bill 25-3, which bans the manufacture, sale, purchase, and transfer of certain semi-automatic firearms and rapid-fire trigger devices. This ban is aimed at reducing the carnage that can be inflicted during mass shootings. It's not going to do anything.
No.
The mass shooters aren't going to go buy a gun that...
They're not going to turn their current mass shooting device in.
Right.
Well, and mass shooters aren't going to go buy a gun the proper way
That's the whole thing.
So what's banned? The bill restricts the sale and manufacture of most semi-auto firearms with detachable magazines, including AR-15s, AK-47 style rifles, tactical shotguns, and some handguns. It also bans bump stocks and other rapid-fire trigger devices.
Binary triggers. They're trying to get bump stocks, binary triggers, and...
The funny thing is the exception. So it's banned except if the law allows individuals who have completed a hunter's education course and a 4-hour training session or a 12-hour course if they haven't completed a hunter's education to purchase banned firearms after passing a background check and fingerprinting by the local sheriff.
Right.
Wow.
So here's the takeaway. And this is where we're going to be friends and enemies for just a moment.
Let's do it.
Okay. I wholeheartedly disagree with the way that's written and the way that they want to make it so that a person can buy it. Because if we look back through history, this is no different than a poll tax. Right?
Okay.
Do you understand why I'm saying this?
No.
Okay. A poll tax was a tax that you had to pay. So you had to financially come out of pocket to pay a tax to be able to go in and vote.
Oh, wow. Poll. P-O-L-L.
Oh, okay.
P-O-L-L tax.
Yeah.
Okay, so poll taxes were put in place to keep poor people from being
voting.
able to vote so
Right.
that the rich could
Sure.
keep control of how they wanted things. Those became illegal for obvious reasons. The way they get around things like that is they lump things like a mandatory class, you have to do this. So your Second Amendment right says you have the right,
Right.
inalienable right. It's your right.
But
Anything that they do that says to do that,
You have to do that.
you have to do this. Now we're stepping over lines because it's no different. It's no different than a poll tax. It's no different than, there's been several other taxes or implied taxes that have been repealed because it is something that is in addition to your inalienable right. If my right is my right, you cannot charge me for my right. So from there, I'm like, none of that. Absolutely. I do not agree.
Right. Because
Now, here's the part where you don't like me.
I thought that was the part.
No.
He's hard to follow sometimes.
Here's the part where you don't like. I don't think anybody wants to pay a tax to do anything. I don't think anybody wants to pay or put a situation where someone who qualifies can't afford, so they don't get. That's just terrible.
Yeah.
But I'm also very aware and cognizant. I pay attention. I have discernment. I see a lot of things going on, and I've seen, especially since the pandemic, where it became very cool to own a firearm. Mm-hmm. I've seen a lot of people, and I have some friends, some close friends, and we'll talk about their story in a minute, but I'm going to keep them kind of removed, have never owned a firearm. Parents never owned a firearm, never been around a firearm, never, like nothing. Perfectly legal to just walk into Cabela's, walk out with a Glock 19, go to their house, and then figure it out.
So that's the part you're saying I'm not going to like you because you think that's wrong.
I think there's a problem here in that I don't want my neighbor
I get it.
to shoot through the wall because he went and bought a 300 blackout AR
He has no idea what he's doing.
and he has
So there's and this is where people feel like I'm not this like staunch 2A guy, right? Mm-hmm. I believe all regulation sucks. Like, I don't think there should be regulation, but shooting firearms is a perishable skill.
Right.
And if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. So yeah, do I believe everyone should have the right to have a gun? Absolutely. But unfortunately, it becomes our responsibility to accept that the magnitude of what you have and go get some training. As a firearms instructor, I know most people don't get training.
And you also know people didn't grow up in our generation now. Mm-hmm. They didn't grow up around dads, uncles, people who brought them up with firearms in the country, shooting cans in the state park.
I mean, that wasn't me. I grew up in Queens.
Right, but you know, like
have a gun.
But our generation, it was
Sure.
This generation, their parents don't have guns.
Right.
They don't have. They haven't been taught. Like in my house, flat out what is dangerous.
Right.
Why?
Yeah.
Because they're being raised around understanding that.
Yeah, like even our grandbabies know.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously nothing accessible.
Accessible, yeah. Obviously, everything's locked up, but like they know where the things are locked up.
I thought I saw something that wasn't locked up on my way in, but whatever.
That's
airsoft.
That's airsoft.
Okay,
that's an airsoft.
Like not everything's locked up.
No, there's some rabbits that eat my front yard.
Oh, great.
And sometimes the crows attack the blue jays.
My there you go.
And I don't like the crows. I'm like, get them out of here.
I like that. My stepdaughter Bella, she was 4 years. Well, she was probably 5 when I got her first rifle, and she was probably 8 or 9 when I got her first pistol, the .22. Mm-hmm. But she knows the gun laws. She could outshoot most adults.
That's awesome.
And I don't worry. I wouldn't worry about her if I had a gun out, because she knew.
But if she had a friend at the house, different story.
Yeah. Exactly. She knows you don't touch the guns. You can touch your gun under supervision.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it's a we are right here thing. Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't leave guns out and go away
and just believe. Yeah.
And believe. Yeah. You know what I mean? I used to.
You don't just sprinkle some.
I used to daydream about her being mature enough to, if we were leaving, she could have her .22 out, but the trust wasn't there.
No.
Yeah. She was too young. So.
But I mean,
my point is to what you were saying is, I know if she came across a gun out on the street, she's not going to shoot herself or somebody else by accident.
Right.
She's going to try to get an adult, and if she can't, she's not
going to secure and
she's not going to look at it and be like, oh, what's this? Or ooh, look at that, and shoot somebody. It's the kids that are, don't go near, they can't even be near a gun. They're going to pick it up out of curiosity.
Right.
And that's where we run into problems.
And that's the biggest thing is it's kind of like, and this is not a great example, but in America, a teenager cannot drink even a beer. Not one.
Right.
But if you leave town, and there's beer in your fridge and you have a teenager, guess what they're going to do?
Drink the beer.
They're going to find a way to drink that beer,
Right.
or they're going to replace your vodka with water.
Sure.
It's things that are going to happen. We've all done it. If you go to other countries, they don't worry about it. Because they'll let the kid have a glass of wine with dinner if it, or, not like, hey, we're all alcoholics, but
Right.
it's not so taboo, that kids, my friends in Europe or, the UK or wherever, that it's just not like, you don't have to lock up your alcohol because your kid might drink it.
Right.
It's just another thing. Whereas in America, for a long time, it was a very similar way with firearms. You grew up knowing, you don't, if there's one out, you 100% just do not.
Yeah,
Like,
or like
absolutely,
Grandpa's
positively.
rifle stand over there in the corner with his rifles just leaning.
Yeah.
You leave that over there.
I mean, we don't do that in America now
No,
just
we
because,
don't.
but when I grew up, there were guns.
Right.
When I grew up, my grandparents had guns in their house.
Sure.
My grandfather had a rifle right above his door going out to the garage.
But because we don't have that now, we have to live in a world where just because everyone can doesn't mean that we're in a place where everyone can be trusted to, because Johnny, who never been around a gun, never owned a gun, goes and buys a 300 Blackout, goes next door, has his buddy over that's also never had a gun, and they're like, oh, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And then someone ends up shot, or my house gets shot through their house.
Yeah, it just comes down to training, and when you leave training up to people, number one, it could
They
be
won't get it.
Could be a financial thing,
Right?
or it could be a will problem. They don't have the will to go
Or an
do
ego
it.
problem.
Could be, but I did it wrong, So when I got out of the Coast Guard, I moved to Florida. My father paid a guy $35. He came to the house, and like 20 minutes later, I had a certificate of training. I went and got my concealed weapons permit, and I did it wrong for like the next 10 years.
Right.
And that's something I kind of push in my classes. Here's what you should practice if you're considering carrying a gun out with you all the time. If
Right.
you want to carry a gun out in public, these are the things that you need to practice to get better, to handle that responsibility. And I mean, I wasn't that guy. I would go to the range once a year, didn't really know if my gun worked or not. I need to shoot a little better. I shouldn't have had a gun. I didn't have the attitude or either,
Right. Mentally, you were not mature enough
No,
to
I was, and
to understand the responsibility.
This was still even after the Coast Guard.
Yeah.
I thought I was, a badass. I had a gun. Mess with me,
I
I'll
got
show
a
you
gun,
what's up.
yeah.
That was the attitude. And met a group of more serious self-defenders out here, and a couple of them took me under their wing. I used to trade like personal training sessions for some firearms lessons, and it just went from there. But man, you could just, if you got to practice, you got to make it, an unconscious competence.
But what do you think is the acceptable give back? That instead of it, we're going to ban all of these guns, we're going to do this, you have to jump through all of these hoops. And this is where if you answer this question, some of your friends are going to be mad. But where's the appropriate give back that says this would be an acceptable minimum? Just buy and hope? Because buy and hope scares me.
Yeah, I mean, Colorado did just pass some other new laws that take effect July 1st in regards to, storage, but in regards to getting your concealed carry permit.
Get it now, folks.
It's already almost too late. So my first class, I started a little late this year. My first class is May 31st, and I've already changed my curriculum because by the time somebody takes a class, contacts their local sheriff, makes an appointment, which everybody is doing right now, you may not be in before July 1st. And that certificate is no longer valid, your old certificate. Yeah, so.
You hear that, Kay Miller?
Yep, I got to get my butt in there.
Her old certificate's no good.
How old is your certificate?
It's old already.
So they're good for, until July 1st, they're good for 10 years.
Oh, we're within that.
Yeah, definitely.
After July 1st, they're
It was
only,
like 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay. After July 1st, they're only good for 1 year. And it's got to be taught by a verified instructor. You got to go to Adams County and get verified that I'm an instructor by them. It's an 8-hour class now. right? So my class was already 6 hours, so that wasn't a huge deal for me. I think part of the problem was, and I'm not saying I agree with all these new laws at all, so just for the record, like my class was...
Hoops are hoops.
Yeah, exactly. But there was a lot of people teaching a 3-hour non-shooting class. So you wouldn't even shoot. You would just go, you would listen, they would try to sell you some extras, they go over the laws and then, boot you out of there and you could go.
And they always had their legal shield guy.
Exactly.
To sell you the insurance for the other 45 minutes.
Exactly. Yeah. So, or the insurance. So, yeah, I mean, I tried that and I didn't like it. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't want to put my name on a certificate saying you're competent when you're not.
Right.
But according to Colorado law, you don't even need to shoot a gun. So I think Colorado went completely the other direction on this because now there's a 50-round shooting test. There's a written test. It's open book, Let's see. The class has to be taught in person the whole time. None of it could be online.
Well, it's something as important as a firearm.
I'm not opposed to Colorado making people get the education that's needed. I don't like that they're charging extra fees for it because I feel like...
But they're just wrapping the education. They're not just charging a fee.
I know, but they should offer that. They should make it free for people. Like,
you mean they should make it taxpayer funded?
Yeah. I mean, I would rather it be that way than have it the opposite.
Sure.
Because in my opinion, I think most people in general that are going to go get a gun who don't have a lot of knowledge will seek out the knowledge. Most normal people.
I disagree.
You really?
Yeah. I know a lot of people that have never owned a gun that went and bought a gun. Still to this day have not talked to someone about making sure that what they're doing with their gun is safe.
I mean, I'm
responsible.
Yeah. I know that we know a lot of people that do that. Like when I first had to buy my first firearm, I was super nervous and like stepping into that world, it was very nerve-wracking for me. So I did try to take classes, get experience, go to the range because I wanted to be comfortable around this deadly thing.
How many classes did you take?
I took a 2-day concealed carry class. We went to the range one of the days, and I think I took another class
You took a knowledge class, yeah.
We took a bounty hunting class that was like a combat thing that we had to maneuver through with, fake guns and tasers and stuff like that.
It was more defending your firearm.
Yeah.
That class.
Okay. Like close quarters. Yeah. Close quarters combat.
We used to do it with some of the deputies.
Nice.
Yeah.
For a long time, we used to have the new deputies they would bring down to the gym and give them the blue gun, but have them in their full gear and say, don't let them take your gun.
Nice.
So we always just took their gun.
Right.
Yeah, but I wanted to have that knowledge because I wanted to feel comfortable with my gun.
You're above average.
And I guess I assume that most people think that way. I guess that's me being naive.
Most
and
people
assuming
don't.
That
Let me ask.
Ego-wise, a lot of guys will never do that because we all think that we know.
Let me ask you another question.
Yeah, true. Guys, I could see for sure.
How many times have you gone to the range this year?
This year, only once.
Okay, and it's it's May, so
yeah, I definitely don't get enough shooting time in. I will admit that for sure.
Same.
Yeah,
I'm an instructor, right? So I had to go shoot a Colorado post qual this morning to be able to carry a church. We have this qualification, and I'm always teaching more than I'm shooting. And it was really weird to not be running the show and have to qualify. I was a little nervous.
You're like, wait.
You're like, oh, I'm on the other side here.
Because in your mind, you could shoot.
Oh yeah, but it was still like,
whoa.
Like, when's the last time somebody ran a course of fire for me? It's
right.
Really weird. What about dry fire practice? Do you guys dry fire at all?
We used to.
We
need
when
to
we
back.
were when he was doing real bounty hunting a lot. We would practice that a lot.
That's one piece of advice I would give everybody is dry practice every day.
They drilled that a lot in my concealed carry
Well, and
class.
that's one of the big things. Like with her, we worked on, and with me and anybody that was going to be on my team as a recovery agent, I would watch him go buy all this new gear, and I'd be like, nope. Nope. Here's the deal. If you just bought a new holster or you just upgraded your firearm,
right,
that's cool. I love it.
Let's make sure it works.
Here's a mirror. I need you to stand right here, and I need you to cold draw that thing about 150 times. And they're like, what do you mean? I've had guns in my I'm like, yeah, but you haven't had that gun in that holster on your body in a stressful situation. I need to know that you've taught your body the mechanics of where you're at and what you're touching and how you're moving. Because just like anything else, I mean, you change the angle of something on jiu-jitsu, and guess what? It's you do it from your dumb
Completely
side.
different, yeah.
You know, grapple from your other side and show me how proficient you are. You're not. Show me how your holster used to sit this way, and you could draw off that thing all day long, but now you just got a brand new one and a new pistol that you haven't worked with a lot.
Sure.
I don't trust either of you.
Oh. No, I get it. I agree.
Draw.
I agree.
Draw, press.
I definitely think that
reps
will probably obviously encourage people more to get more education to get the gun because they have no other choice.
They don't have a choice.
You know?
And that's the part that I hate. I hate that we have to regulate.
Because people just aren't smart enough on their own to go get the freaking education.
Well, and that's where
It's also where I want Darwinism to take over.
That is actually very ridiculous.
Give stupid people guns, but you can only give them to them in places that they can't shoot through.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to monitor though too. So, you feel like, you practiced and took enough classes. Not saying that you don't want any more, right? But you feel like you did your due diligence to feel comfortable with your skill level.
Correct.
Somebody else might be like, well, I think you should have done these other 5 things.
Yeah.
Or somebody else might have been like, I just needed to take one class.
Right.
But the truth is most people to get the concealed weapons permit, they're one and done. They take one class and they're done. And time again, I'll have somebody to ask me at the end of my class. My class is 150 rounds. It's it's a shooting class.
Right.
That's cool.
It's happening.
Yeah.
You learn.
We need to go to his class.
That would be cool.
We need to.
So, I lost my train of thought.
Sorry. 150 rounds.
Most people are one and done in a class.
Oh, yeah. So what I was going to say is everyone at the end of, not everyone, but sometimes people come to me like, hey, what's the next level? What can I do now? I'm like, well, you could dry practice every day for 90 days. Go to the range like 3 or 4 times and then give me a call. Mm-hmm. I've never had somebody call me.
Right.
I was actually going to ask, like,
hone your skills, then come back and let's test your skills.
Yeah. Because really it's just the next level is speed. You're just going to get
speed, accuracy, and stress.
Yeah, that's
okay. But here's a thought. So, like, I'm a normal person that has went to the concealed carry class. Mm-hmm. How much training, like you asked me, have I done since I went to that class or been to the range or anything? Right. Not very much.
Right.
That's probably,
but more than most of our friends.
Than most of our friends, right. Yes. But like the next person that goes and buys a gun and has to go through all these hoops and go through these classes and do all the things that are required now, even after they do all of that,
one and done.
They're not going to be continuing. You might get that one person.
But what we're saying is, I would rather have someone have
a little bit of knowledge,
some education.
Yeah,
like
I agree with that. I agree.
One sentence that sticks in their head that keeps them from, making a
shooting
horrible
themselves,
mistake.
shooting them. Yeah,
right.
Is better than nothing.
I don't consider myself a good shooter. Like but
that's because you're a good shooter.
Compared to some of my buddies, it's like how do you do that all in 7 seconds? I don't get it. It takes me, 12. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I feel proficient. I feel competent is the main thing, but I don't feel like I'm a good shooter, and I know you've only taken one class, so how good can you be?
Right. Some people can be naturally good. They're not going to be good. They have some natural ability where they're like, oh, this person could shoot. Like, I could work with them. They could be a good shooter. It doesn't make you a good shooter.
No.
Like, I can not shoot for 6 months and go down and shoot better than my buddies.
Okay.
But then I go shoot with someone like you or with one of your friends, and they're like, did he just buy that on the way over here? You know what I mean?
Yeah. My friends would never do that to you.
But I hope they would.
That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, so it's just a fine line between us taking responsibility and then the government overreaching.
But where is that line?
It's so hard.
I think the line's been.
So
I think
many things.
yes.
The line hasn't been drawn because they pushed it back to August of 2026 because they know they're going to be fighting that all the way.
Yeah, Supreme Court hopefully steps in on that one. I mean, honestly, I think that's crazy. One of the laws that I don't, like I said, all regulation. So I did get into a Facebook argument.
Oh, it's
Okay. So one of the new laws is you can't leave a firearm unattended in a vehicle,
okay.
right?
I thought it was unlocked.
Unlocked, yeah, unless it. Okay, so yeah,
Because
unless it's
like if you have a life vault like that over on the desk that's tethered to your seat.
right. That's how. Yeah, so that's locked, right? So I'm not talking about that. Safe storage in vehicles effective January 1st, 2025. Firearms left unattended in vehicles must be secured in a locked container. For example, glove box, trunk.
No. Hard no.
I don't know.
Hard no on both.
Yeah. Violations may result in a $500 fine. Now, this was printed off of AI, I think, so I'm not even sure.
It's
if that's
close.
right.
I
But-
remember reading it.
But to me, like, I don't leave guns in my vehicle unless they're locked. To me, that's common sense.
Yeah, but
So-
we all know no one has common sense anymore.
Yeah, so, I mean, I've had students call me and be like, Jam, I got my gun stolen. I'm like, yeah, was it in your car? Yep. Right? So it happens.
Guess
so
what?
I always tell
Your
people.
fault.
So anyway, this comes up in some firearms group that I belong to, and I'm like, yeah, like you shouldn't leave guns unlocked in car. Oh, so you're saying it's my fault. If somebody comes and steals my gun out of my car, it's all my fault.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Not all.
it's not all your fault,
Partially.
but the end result is your gun got stolen. I mean, I don't want any of my
Like, was
firearms
his
stolen.
car like actually like broken into?
No,
or
he-
was
It
it
doesn't
unlocked?
matter.
It didn't even
doesn't
happen to
matter.
him. He was just against the regulation
Yeah.
to have a law in place that says you got to
Hey.
lock your guns up.
If I leave my toddler in my car
Right.
and I go into 7-Eleven, is it my fault if my kid gets kidnapped?
Well, you didn't break the law. Well, you did by
I did.
living. Yeah, you did. But that was his
But you see
mentality.
what I mean?
Absolutely.
I'm not
Like,
leaving my kid in my car.
Yeah,
Why
to-
am I
No.
leaving?
To me, that is common sense, right? But some of the other stuff, the taxes and, I don't know.
Fees
The
for
class, I mean, the class, I guess, I don't know. There's nobody else has ever done this before. So
Yeah,
it's
it's very interesting.
all
The big
brand
problem
new.
with the class for
Is
me,
Colorado the only state that's trying to do anything like this right now?
we are
This-
the most.
Yeah, this new
Wow.
law with the detachable, that's the strictest law ever. To
Like
go
every
through.
other state is going, no. Like even states that aren't good
Yeah.
with guns are like,
Right.
They're like, what are they doing over there?
they're fucking crazy over
They
there.
be smoking too much of that weed.
But I mean, if you're gonna, I think everybody who is responsible with a firearm understands, like a life vault like that, right there on the desk, little tiny, fits a pistol. I mean, it might fit a pistol if you tried. You
Right.
could probably
Yeah.
put one in there, and maybe an additional
Mag.
magazine. I don't know. Never tested it. But it comes with a cable
Wire rope.
that you can wire up to the frame of your seat
Yep.
and put it.
Great.
Why would you not?
Right.
Outside of the fact that most people really like their gun. Like they bought it for a particular reason
Yeah,
and
that
they've
was kinda
modified
like-
it to the point that they really like it. Why am I just going to be like, here?
But like, why are people so willy nilly about it? I'm just like, oh, I'm just gonna leave it in my car like it's my freaking water bottle or something, Like
Yeah. I don't know.
that person shouldn't own a gun, in my opinion.
Well, now you just violated their second
Now
amendment.
you've just taken away their
I know.
ability.
Well,
you go.
oops, my
Because
bad.
also, if you go to buttfuck Kentucky, which never been there, heard it's a
Yeah.
cool place. Everybody and their sister's got a gun there, and they've all left it on the seat to go into 7-Eleven.
True.
Yeah.
And,
So
and nobody in that
True.
town, when you go sit down there, they're like, what the hell
yeah.
are you talking
It's
about?
I mean,
they're-
Colorado was a state that the kids would bring their rifles to school
Right.
and go hunting after school. Like
Right.
I met people that have done that in this state.
Yeah.
So it's just changed quite a bit.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
It's crazy. The last thought I had on the problem with having a mandated class is it's going to get governmentified. which means instead of it being true gun guys teaching good gun safety, it's going to get just like every other governmental process where they go, well, guys, we figured it out. All we have to do is check these boxes and turn this form in. And like, I would much rather say that it can't be run by the government in any way.
Well, maybe in the future that's going to happen.
Yeah. I just don't like.
Right now, it was kind of really hokey. It was kind of crazy. So I try to get ahead of it. Adams County was one of the counties that didn't charge the instructors to become verified. I thought it was supposed to be done by a certain date. So I went down there. I walk in and I had to make an appointment, right? And I go to the glass and I'm like, yeah, I'm here to get verified. The lady's like, what? Yeah, I'm here to
blue check mark, please.
Yeah, I'm here to become a verified instructor. She's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm like, well, can you ask somebody? Because
you guys passed it, not me.
I have an appointment here today at this time, right? So anyway, she's like, she walks in and she comes back. She's like, oh, I know what you mean. You're the very first one. So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, literally, I was
his verification cert is 001.
It's 2025-001.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You're the only person that could ever say that.
I'm the number one verified instructor in Adams County. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So anyway, they weren't really sure about the process. And then I remember like it was taking a while and I thought my next class had to be taught this way. And I call and they're like, oh yeah, the lady who's in charge of that, she's not here. We were just hoping nobody was going to call and ask questions, so yeah.
Oh,
it was
That's how
really
things
weird.
get governmentified.
Yeah, it was really weird.
They're like, I don't know here.
And then they're like, okay, there's a 50-round test, and you got to get what's the score? 70% accuracy out of 50 rounds, right? So what's that? I think you can miss 15, something like that. But they didn't tell you what the test is.
Is it 15 feet? Is it 5 yards? Because okay, 70% at 5 yards.
Right.
I can pass that cold.
Right. Yeah. The class includes a written concealed handgun competency exam, which must be administered as open. Okay, but what's the exam? Like, it's not like set questions or a set course of fire. So I just made my own stuff up. This is my class. This is my test. This is a written exam. Let's go.
Wow.
Meets all of your prescribed requirements.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple other things I already told you. It's got to be 8 hours. It's got to include the following topics: knowledge and safe handling of firearms and ammunition.
Love that part.
Safe storage of firearms and child safety.
Mm-hmm.
Safe firearm shooting fundamentals. State and federal laws, about purchase, ownership, transportation, stuff like that. Laws pertaining to use of deadly force. Best practices to ensure concealed handgun permit holders safely interact with law enforcement. I was already doing all this. They just added 2 hours to my class, basically, in a shooting test.
Right.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting.
They just let you become more long-winded is all.
Right. Now
Same class.
So now I used to do all 6 hours outside. Now I rented a classroom for the first 3. So
boy.
Who wants to be outside for 8 hours?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm going to have to have a PowerPoint. I don't have to, but it's going to make life easier if I do.
Sure. You need to be able just to hit the button, show them the screen.
Take a picture if you want for your test, so it'll be interesting.
That's crazy.
I had to increase the cost because it's taking me more time.
Well, because the cost has to go somewhere.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. 2 more hours of my time isn't free.
Right.
No.
And your prep time and changing your course.
Yeah, it's crazy. But I don't know what's going to happen to the people that would do teaching the 3-hour class, that didn't have any shooting involved. This is probably going to rock their world.
Because they can't shoot.
Either they can't shoot, they don't know how to instruct shooting very well. Right. But the business model was teach a free up to $35 or $40 class for 3 hours, try to hit them with the insurance. And I sell firearms legal protection. It's a very small part of my presentation.
Right.
Like I have it. So anything I have, I try to present to people.
I was making fun of the guys that bring in Legal Shield and it's like a half of their class.
Oh no. Yeah. It's me. It's like, and it's real simple. I try not to make it long-winded. There is some good information out there about what to do if you do have a self-defense shooting, stuff like that, so.
Yeah. You're getting arrested.
Most likely.
And your firearm is not going to be yours for a very long time.
And hopefully you either have money or a lawyer,
right?
Or
a lot of video
or protection, So
a lot of camera angles.
Yeah. It's crazy. And I don't know where up is. I really don't, because I don't like what they're doing now. Diametrically opposed to.
Yeah.
But because I love people, I also want there to be something. Like you want to shake every person who goes into a gun store and go, "Do you have education?
Stop being stupid."
Right.
Here's the question. What do you think are the core responsibilities that people who are going, or what are the core responsibilities that would come with the right to bear arms? What do you think a person should have an understanding of just to own a firearm?
Yeah, safe handling, for sure. Safe handling, storage, those are really good things because that's how you're going to protect people from dying, And then, shooting fundamentals. How are you going to make sure you don't shoot somebody by accident and shoot accurately?
Because a lot of people don't understand that I may be shooting at you in a high stress situation, very something that I'm not used to being in, and not realize that there's 75 people behind you. And the bullet, just because I'm shooting at you, if I miss, the bullet doesn't only go that far and then stop.
Yeah.
It's going to go until it hits.
Yeah. We are responsible for every single bullet that leaves the barrel of our guns.
Which means 4th of July is not the time to shoot into the air.
No.
I think a lot of people don't know how they actually will respond in a heightened situation, which
they run,
causes, accidents and stuff like that.
Yeah. They shoot their lives on accident.
Yeah, I'm sure you've heard this before. Some people think, and I didn't coin this phrase, but some people think that they're going to rise to the occasion. Mm-hmm. You're just going to fall down to your highest level of training and maybe a little bit below that, So,
I say you're going to fall down to your lowest level of training because your highest level of training may be something that you just completed, but they're not proficient at.
Right. That's when we start talking about that, just you do it so much. It's like signing your name.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where it's just unconscious competence is what they call it. Well,
in coming from combat sports, we've been in the gym with people and seen people in the gym that are the toughest people in the gym. You never wanted a sparring round with them. You knew it was going to hurt every single time. And then you watch that same person get in a cage and they close the door and then they just get their ass handed to them. And you're like, you want to pull them aside? Don't ever do that again, dude, because you make me look like an asshole because you kicked my ass on Tuesday and then you show up like that. Right. But it's a similar situation. You don't know what a person, it could be the greatest training partner you've ever had. Put them in live situation and they
even someone that trains in a gun, heightened scenario or setup or whatever, right? And if a real life situation happens, they may be skirting the other direction, And I think 90% of people in America that own guns probably would run the other direction.
Probably. You could do, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
You could do stress inoculation drills to kind of get used to the stress, right? Mm-hmm. But they say nothing is going to compare to.
There's nothing but real stress in a real stress situation.
Exactly.
You can play the music, you can bump my arm all you want.
Right.
All those things are great.
Until you're actually in it.
You want to know what the end result's going to be, but smart. Just like training a fighter, you don't know until you close a door. You don't know what you're going to get.
Sure.
You also, Yeah, it's
It's a fine line because I'm like having like this little battle in my head over here of like, yeah, everyone should have the right to bear arms. We should as people.
No,
right?
we do.
I mean, yes, we do. But like we should continue to do that, obviously, right? But like we should all also be smart enough to like have that responsibility. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yes, we are allowed to bear arms, but at the same time, like if you're not smart enough to do that, you shouldn't have that right.
But see, the argument that comes from that combats this, everyone can make a baby.
Yeah, there should also be a parenting class before people have just
Not a
willy-nilly
class,
kids.
a test.
A test.
But
There
seriously,
should be something.
That's the
No.
argument. You're like,
No, I know.
Everybody
I get
should be
it.
required to have some education to own a firearm, but everybody should also be required to have some kind of education before they fire a peepee.
Oh, here's an idea. Why don't they change the education system a little bit and maybe include these types of things into the school system as kids are growing up instead of, hindering them from all this real life nonsense? Then maybe they would have some insight on how to be a parent, how to do certain things, gun knowledge, every other thing.
I love it.
It's all governmental.
Devil's advocate, just for you because you love this.
No, I don't love it.
Let's say we do that. We go, all right, here's the thing. We need to put some firearm understanding and education in the school system so that, kids that come across a firearm know to stay away, know what to do. Everybody agrees? Everybody agrees? Okay, cool. Then Bethany comes with her furry cat kid and goes, hey, if you're going to put training in that people have to understand, what to do in case they see a firearm, I also need you to now include X amount of hours in school on how to better deal with Jimmy the cat, because that's responsible, or that's important in my house. And if it's important in my house, it's important in everybody's house. The same way we go, hey, gun safety is important in my house.
Yeah,
so
but
everyone should have.
Gun safety is not also important in other people's houses too.
Right.
Yeah.
So
it's such a hard line because like the administrations are the ones that are like, your kids have to be in school. You have to do this. You have to be in school from this time to this time. And they're just making everybody, these little pawns and, programs to work from 9 to 5. They're in school from 9 to 5. And they're like, you can only teach this curriculum. This is what you're allowed to teach right here.
Right.
Only this. Don't teach any normal life skills that would actually benefit our country in the long run. Don't do any of that.
Right.
Teach them bullshit about our country and, some basic math skills and this and that. And maybe we'll have a handful of doctors out of this bunch of kids. Maybe we'll have a handful of people that will go off to the military or whatever, right? Scientists, but like for the most part, all those people get stuck in the rat race and they know nothing.
How did we get there?
That it's all encompassed together. School systems, the government.
I just didn't know how we got there. Like that really came from somewhere.
No,
deep.
but like it's all encompassed though. Like it's all together in my opinion. Like I
but
think
why do you get to decide what the curriculum is that's important?
I don't get to decide.
No, I know, but you're saying why
saying,
can't we teach them things that are actually important? Where there are people right now in this very moment, not in this house, in other houses that go, what we're teaching is exactly what we need our kids to learn.
Yeah, and I think those people are the ones that are the brainwashed ones.
But as soon as you take someone else's ability to say, then we're just as bad as anyone else.
I think that's why there's been an increase in like the homeschooling movement.
That's exactly why.
Yeah.
I'm very anti
Homeschool?
No.
Oh, no.
I'm very pro homeschool. I'm anti-establishment as far as education and required education. I'd like kids to graduate high school. I think it's a good idea. I mean, I think there's enough education that could be done through that amount of time that prepares someone to try to do life. But I think secondary education has become so like passed by. It's not even, unless you're going to be a lawyer an engineer that is designing something that's going to be safety for people, structurally safe or, electronically safe, or a doctor. Really, I can learn anything else pretty much and be proficient at it in equal amount or less time than what we're sending someone off to a 4-year university to learn about interpersonal studies.
So you mean more like on a job training?
I think on the job training is great.
Right.
I think we're at a point in the world where information is so readily available that if you want to learn how to do something, you can just learn how to do it.
Oh yeah. How many times have I fixed my furnace via
Nope.
YouTube University?
Nope. You've got to go to Harry's HVAC school.
Right.
And if you didn't graduate from Harry's HVAC school, you can't change the thermocoupler on your furnace.
Do you think I can learn how to be a bounty hunter from watching YouTube videos?
I wouldn't.
Probably that'd be
questionable. I would watch a lot of those videos and then I would do the opposite.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Because everything that's in those videos is not how to do that job. Just so everybody knows.
I meant like, is there YouTube videos like become a bounty hunter?
There are.
Oh, okay.
Are there
100%.
actually?
Well, Scott Gribble used to put out
Oh, yeah.
Bounty Hunter Boot Camp that you could
There you
almost
go.
do online
Yeah,
completely.
that's true.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
You can also become a boat captain completely online.
really.
You can.
Yep. Did it.
Really?
I did it.
Nice. So nautical.
But it was unnecessary. If there's a test that's required for the license, if I can walk in and pass the test, do I need to go to your class?
So I recently went
That's
to,
tough.
I'm just trying to think because last spring I went to EMT school and I'm just thinking,
You just said you wanted to do that.
For fun.
That's what I did it for.
Yeah.
The problem is once you start going on your ride-alongs and doing clinicals, like you kind of want to do it. Yeah. So I've been.
Yeah, but for me, I'm a little bit
Kooky.
just so you know. But I think of things like that. If you have a family dynamic and it's large enough, one person from that dynamic should be elected to go get that education.
Sure.
Because if shit hits the fan,
Right.
having an EMT on board, not a bad idea.
Yeah. So here's the deal, right? And you are a bounty hunter. How many shootouts have you been in your life? 0, right? How many
Intentionally.
How many shootouts have you been in?
She witnessed a drive-by.
I did witness a drive-by.
Okay. I've been in 0 shootouts. Okay. How many times have you seen a medical emergency, a car accident, or had a family member?
Do you know how many
Just saw
times-
one on my way home today, driving back
Right.
from the studio.
Do you know how many times we've pulled over and administered like basic first aid to situations?
Yeah. So that's what kind of got me on this thing is we need medical training. Everyone takes gun classes because it's sexy,
Right.
right? But this in May is actually Stop the Bleed month, right? Go take a Stop the Bleed class. You know, I actually just became I haven't taught any of these classes yet, and I wasn't even trying to pump my class, but
I'm trying to pump it.
I became a Stop the Bleed instructor.
Perfect.
That's cool.
I got a little limb with wounds in it, and
Can we-
learn.
I literally just told him last night. So one of my friends, she's an backpacker,
Okay.
like a mountain
Yeah.
backpacker, and goes on like week-long trips in the mountains.
Like
And
hike
she's,
the Colorado Trail.
She's
type shit.
tiny like me, like shorter than me and like tiny. And she just took a survivalist, like outdoors class and learned like wound care and like
survivalist first aid.
first aid. Yeah.
Very cool.
For, just so she could be prepared. And I told him, I was like, I want to take one of those classes. I want to have that knowledge. I think it'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Well, let's look at this. Why don't we sign up, me and Mike and Kay Miller and JJ, in May for your Stop the Bleed class?
Mm-hmm.
We'll sign up. I mean, I'm sure we can just go to your
Website.
hand and say, And then we'll take the class, but we'll also just film a little promo while we're there talking about why it's important. And, you know, I don't want it to take away from the education.
Yeah. I mean, I'll come do it here.
That would be amazing. Because then we could actually, if you're interested in like shooting the video aspect of it. So you would have, if you wanted to show things online, if you want to do it here, I have every piece of equipment you could ever want to
That's
film.
cool. Yeah. I mean, yeah, we could definitely do that. There's a PowerPoint, you know, it's a pretty basic class, but you'll learn how to use direct pressure, wound packing, and tourniquets.
That's cool.
There's-
That's perfect.
Oh,
I want to
something.
learn how to use those things.
All my go bags have tourniquet and
Yeah, because like we have a go bag,
clot.
you know, but like he said, if shit hits the fan, like and
If
we
I
have-
yell,
and-
go get that.
and I have no idea what it is or how to use it, I'm useless.
Right.
And I don't want to be useless.
That's the thing
I
is a
need to
lot
know
of people
things.
like get freaked out by medical emergencies because they don't know what to do. If you don't know what to do, it's scary.
I
right?
mean,
Yeah.
blood, stop the bleeding. How do I like initially?
Well,
you know?
and here's the thing:
but
if
people don't know how to do that.
you go buy a gun with no education, when you shoot yourself in the leg, you should at least know how to stop the bleeding enough to get
Exactly.
the EMTs there to take care
They
of
should
you.
also make them take stop the bleeding class when they get a gun.
Because
look at
you're
all
going to
so much regulation.
stop at the regulation.
Yeah.
Maybe
Take all the classes, okay?
maybe a non-state regulated portion of someone's concealed carry class could be that 2 extra hours that they had
Right.
could go to stop the
Yeah.
when you
Something.
accidentally shoot yourself, you're going to need this part too.
Exactly.
No, I think it's
Yeah.
My friend actually shot himself by accident one time when we were shooting.
his name's Cheddar Bob.
When we were teenagers, we in the desert in Arizona. We one of my friends had like an SKS rifle, I think.
Okay. Chinese.
On purpose?
Yeah, and he had like 2 other pistols and a little 22 pistol, and we were all like standing there, and my friend Zach was standing next to me, and we were kind of like in like a little circle ish, and he like went to pop the clip in the bottom, and there must have been like a round in the chamber or something. I don't know what was going on, but when he popped it in, the gun went off, and it
I
was
know what
pointed,
happened. His finger was on a
it
trigger.
was pointed at the ground, and the gun went off, and we all like stood there for a second, and we were like, did anyone get shot? And he was like, I think my leg. And he like lifted up his pant leg, and it went like right into his like thigh, like upper thigh, and got stuck right here in his knee. Like you could see it sticking out in his knee. And when we took him to the hospital,
You didn't just cut it out with a Rambo knife?
no, and thankfully we didn't actually, because he had to leave it in for like a year. He had to leave the bullet in his knee because the doctor said the way that it went, it's like split right underneath his kneecap.
Oh.
So when his leg was like bent, his kneecap was like open, and then when his leg was straight, it like closed. So he had to wait for the kneecap to like heal
The
before they
bones to
could
heal.
before they could take it out. It was pretty crazy though. That
Wow.
was like one of my like first gun experiences.
Pretty solid.
Yeah.
So did you panic when that happened?
No, not at all.
You guys were like,
No, like a little bit of blood came out, and we just like someone grabbed their belt, wrapped it around his leg. We like grabbed all the guns. The guy that had the guns was in the like a military friend.
So he took all the guns and lost them
he
in
was-
a boating accident really
He
fast.
was the one that was in charge and took us all out, you know?
Gotcha.
He was our leader, so to speak. But yeah, we just got him in the car super quick, got him to the hospital, and like he was like, it was fine. Like there was no panic, it was smooth. But yeah, it was interesting though. I was like, what?
Dude, I take her everywhere. You can't, she doesn't,
I'm pretty desensitized.
you can't shake her.
That's crazy.
No, I've taken her into some shit.
Yeah.
And like she doesn't get shook.
Unfazed.
Maybe if I got shook, she might get shook a little bit.
Yeah, but
I mean, if
I'm
I get
not-
shook, there's something fucking
yeah, but
wrong.
when it comes to like fight or flight stuff, like
Yeah.
I'm not the one running away from situations.
No, I'm saying, but if you saw
Yeah.
me, if you saw me visibly shook
Yeah.
in a situation, you might be more like, we probably need to get the fuck
yeah,
out.
yeah, true.
Because
I do. Yeah, if I definitely feed off
I grew
his
up
energy for
in
sure.
crazy trauma, so I don't
Plus,
like that part
yeah.
doesn't happen in my brain. Like usually that's where I'm really calm, is in like the most insane shit.
chaos.
So if something happens and I'm like, there's a fucking problem.
Yeah, then
Like
I'd
we need to be
like,
moving.
All right, let me get the
Yeah.
stuff.
We're going to pretend like our state government isn't possibly the largest collection of dumb people who ever lived, and that didn't happen. But if I had a friend, let's say I had a really good friend from work, and he has never owned a gun before, and like many other people, they're very scared of this new bill, so they would like to purchase a firearm ahead of it going into place. But they also maybe they have a new baby at home and a wife, and they want to bring a firearm into their home. What is the bare minimum that you would suggest to that person?
As far as a class goes?
Anything.
Just
education.
If I came to you and said, hey, Jam, here's the deal. Never shot a gun, never had a gun, but I know this law is coming in. I need to, the world is crazy.
Yeah.
I need to be able to defend my family. I got a new baby at home. Why do you keep breaking the camera? I got a new baby at home. What should I do?
Just take a class.
So just sign up.
Just sign up for a class?
Any class?
What
do you want to look for? What do I want to vet?
You want to vet the instructor.
I was letting you plug your goddamn class.
Gotcha. You would want to take a class from Full Armor.
Right?
It's an 8-hour defensive handgun class that meets all the new requirements in place by Colorado. So we would cover safety law, situational awareness, managing unknown contacts, avoidance, after incident procedures, and then we get into shooting fundamentals, which is like stance, grip, sight alignment, sight picture, trigger press, all the shooting fundamental stuff. And then we do some defensive handgun techniques, which is a lot of holster work. So how to draw from concealment, working on your draw stroke. We do shooting with movement and working through malfunctions. So you got to think chances of your gun malfunctioning while you're in a self-defense shooting because of stress and not everything's perfect. Your gun has a pretty...
Something's going to happen.
Something could happen. If you start limp wristing it or you don't have a good grip, yeah. So
let's say you had 1,000 rounds of range 9mm and you had it in a plastic ammo container and then you took it to Florida with no moisture control in the box. Man. And then you ran that through a magazine, you think that would cause a problem?
Good. Florida's humid.
Mm-hmm.
I may have killed 1,000 rounds.
Damn.
Sucks.
That does suck.
But these are the things. And then I try to explain to people often, there's a difference between I got a gun and this is it, and then being a good defensive gun owner.
Sure.
And I think most of us are not going to be the aggressor in a firearm situation.
No.
We're not going to buy a gun so that we can go shoot up a Walmart.
Yeah. If you ended up going to the gun, that means all your soft skills have
Everything
failed.
had failed.
Yeah. Because most people and most people and that I know, most people we know, and we're in a pretty good circle of people that know how to fight, but most people that we know will never win a violent encounter. They won't. Most people.
Yeah.
Most people that we don't know.
Well, I'm not talking about most people
outside of our circle.
But people outside of the fighting circle.
Right.
Yeah. They're not going to win a violent
encounter. I know 90% of the people in my world, if there's going to be a problem,
they're not winning.
They're not one of the 100 people I'm taking to fight the gorilla.
Gotcha. But everybody could be a master of soft skills.
Right.
Like situational awareness, you could be great at that and you'll never need to go to the gun. Avoidance, if your pride and ego is not in the way, it's really easy to avoid things.
Dude. So the entire time I was a real life bounty hunter.
Were you not a real life bounty hunter at one time? Because you
the show the show that you see is faux reality.
Okay, so it is.
The show is based. Here we go. We're going to break hearts here. The show is based on the things that people believe that bounty hunters do. Okay, The show is based on what everyone, when they're like, I want to be a bounty hunter because what happened in your mind? Oh, I got to get in a fight. I'm going to drag this guy out. I got to do all this. I got to go kick in the door and drag the bad guy out of the house. All the violence on the show, 100% real.
Oh.
Okay, tasers real, tear gas real, fights
damage
real.
to houses,
everything, all of that is 100% real. Okay. The rub is we have producers like Kay Miller. They go find people who want to be on the show. Now, there's minimum requirements, like they have to have been in jail before. They have to understand that side of it. Well, because you can't go get like Fred the fucking soccer dad.
Right.
Like how is he going to act in that situation?
Right.
You want the right people. And then they find, if those people have a house that you can use, that's great. If they don't, they would also find a house. That's why sometimes the pictures don't match the people.
Gotcha.
So they go, okay, Jam, you're going to be our guy. Your base pay is X. Do you have 2 or 3 friends? Great. Get them. They're going to have a base pay that's slightly lower than yours. We're going to put you guys in this house. They come up with a scenario on whether you're hiding, whether you're barricading, whether you're like, all of you guys are just going to just straight out fight. Like they set a scenario with you while you're wanted, how you're, what kind of situation it is. They leave the house. They come to us. They give us the picture and the address.
Oh, no shit. So you're actually going on it's
so they don't know anything.
It's as real as that could be.
Right. So they don't actually have a bounty out for them.
No.
But they've had one before, most likely.
Well,
yes.
And here's the thing. They get that base pay regardless.
Right.
But everything they do to ramp it up is a bonus.
Or to prolong, complying with the officers or
So
whatever.
if your guy that answers the door to hide you starts a fight with one of us, bonus. If he gets tased, bonus. If he gets this, bonus.
Oh, man.
So everything is incentivized to make it crazier and crazier.
Is there a safe word?
Yes, there is actually. We go over, like the production goes over all the rules. Like the rules, because there are rules, no punching in the face.
Unless you want to get
like
punched
that.
in the face.
No spitting, no biting, stuff like that. But we'd have to go over the rules and tell them, all the things and what the safe word was. And we had a few people use the safe word and then be like, oh, never mind, I'm okay.
So the safe
and then
word,
continue fighting. And we're like, don't use that. Don't do that.
The safe word is if you 100% need the scene to stop.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
like
you've got a
hurt.
broken bone, you're gushing blood from somewhere. Like,
Not I'm losing.
yeah,
Right.
or I'm looking like, a
This didn't turn out the way I thought.
So this is legit like, it's almost like a street fight every episode.
So we used to film 20 episodes a week, meaning I would get in 20 fights
20
or
conflicts.
more every week.
There was a whole season where we were filming and there was no weapons. It was all physical, hands-on.
Like we didn't use tasers or anything.
Wow.
So it was the 4 bounty hunters fighting 1 or 2 of the fugitives that they're after.
And the fugitives, even though it's not real, they probably still hate you.
Oh yeah.
For that moment in time, their job is to hate you.
Yeah.
Or they just hate you in
That's
general.
why we
No,
go
they
after.
love. They do. There's so much
really?
love and
Afterwards,
pictures.
it's
Really?
all smiles and laughter.
It's love.
That's
It's
wild.
super love.
Yeah.
Like,
Everyone's excited to be
you're
on the
fucking
show.
bleeding. You're hurt, and they're like, "That was so long." So the ultimate win for the participant is your guys held us off for a long time. We get into the house, we find you. If you, as the bad guy, make physical contact with one of the bounty hunters, get away from us out of the house onto the street, $1,000.
Wow. Oh, so they're trying.
But we have to see them first.
Like you have to make contact with us.
Sure.
Because there was a time when a guy is in a second story window and had the window open. And as soon as we came to the front door,
Jump.
he opened the bedroom door and looked down the hallway. So he's like, I saw him, closed it, jumped out, and then took off, which the episode
horrible.
was cool, I guess, but it was weak. But yeah, that's when I say real and fake.
Gotcha.
The violence is crazy real. You can't fake that.
Right.
And none of those people are actors.
Right.
So that's why we preferred people that had the criminal background, because those kind of people can be that way with,
Sure.
law enforcement.
You know how it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got picked to be a patient, like an irate patient during EMT school.
Oh yeah.
That wasn't going to
awesome.
comply, and like I scared somebody.
They had to stop it.
I scared
They were
them.
They're
like,
like, this is too
Yeah,
real.
I scared the
yeah, like
the kid.
people like us can't volunteer to be that person
It's so funny.
because real world other people can't put up with like real shit.
That's
like,
the problem in the world.
Yeah, the kid's like, man, I thought you were being serious.
no, you told me to be
my
this
gosh,
person.
Yeah.
that's
what I mean.
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the difference between the two. One's really fun to shoot. One you actually had to be really, really good at soft skills. As a real life bounty hunter for how long? 6-7 years?
Like you got like maybe not even a handful of
Maybe
altercations.
5
Really?
actual physical fights, altercations. 5.
And there was no like weapons or anything. It was all physical. Well, there was one one instant.
One was not good. Not on my end.
No.
And I just threw away files the other day. I think the files I threw away were like over 600 files
Wow.
of people that I had put hands on
Wow.
and taken to jail. 5 fights shot at once. But
That's crazy.
you can also know that a lot of people who think they're tough and homies, they don't train. They should train to fight. If I was running a gang, everyone would be required to go to jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai.
There you go. Yeah.
Everybody in my gang would be required.
Right.
Also, I just want to say that during that time, we probably saw the most like street tough gang banger thug cry babies.
Yeah.
Cry.
Damn.
Crying all the time.
I've listened to more sob stories and bought more
Please,
cheeseburgers.
Please, can I just call my mom and get my stuff together first, please? Mm-hmm.
I'm like, dude,
So
Joe.
funny.
You
So
did this,
funny.
not me.
tatted faces, just like crying, not wanting to go back to jail.
Yeah.
Pretty funny.
That's
So.
crazy.
that's
Yeah.
Did you ever, when you were recording the show, did you ever have like a oh shit moment? Like, this guy could fight.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There was some banger. There's some banger episodes where some of these guys
Gino.
were tough.
I remember the guy's name to this day.
Gino.
He
Sounds like he'll kick
actually
your ass.
ran a South Miami gang.
Did he really?
Cool as shit. Nicest guy in the
Yeah.
world. Could fight.
Yeah.
So when he's getting his ass kicked and you're just filming
just
that,
filmed
like,
Oh yeah.
come on, honey.
She filmed me getting my face busted open by a door.
I saw that. I saw a clip
That was
of
legit.
That was all over TikTok.
That
for a
was
while.
legit. She filmed me like tearing my rotator cuff.
That sucks.
She's filmed me in every way possible. And like, yeah.
Even those ways too.
No.
I'm just kidding.
But she knows me better than anyone. And I can look at her and let her know I'm hurt, but I'm not like,
Dying.
yeah, we're good. Like we can keep moving. So she's filmed. She's filmed crazy.
That's nuts.
We had some crazy
We
stuff.
fought. So Gino was tough. Gino threw me.
He threw him
He
and
threw
he
me-
walked through Pat's taser.
Yeah. He threw me like you throw your like small nephews.
Yes. And I like as many times as I saw him like train like in the gym and stuff, I never saw him get thrown like that. And I remember thinking that in my head, but as I was like watching him, I was like, oh damn, that sucks.
Just that like
He threw
like
you.
crazy strength.
Mm-hmm.
And not an in shape guy, kind of a chunky.
Just strong.
Just strong.
And he was doing, and like I walked him down just perfect, and I was gonna pummel and get in. He just grabbed me and threw me, and I rolled on the ground like
tumbled. He like did the
I got
tumble
up,
thing.
and I'm like,
You're like,
That's funny.
I gotta go back over here now.
the only other people that were really really tough. We fought some actual fighters.
Okay.
Remember the Heirs?
Yes.
What was his name? He fought in the UFC.
Yeah.
So
When we had the double episode.
where we went
Yeah.
back and fought him and his girl in the house.
Yeah, I was gonna say the
And,
episode that the cops shut down thwn those guys. We had that full barricade going on outside, and the cops came and they shut us down.
I don't remember them being tough though.
They were pretty tough. You guys could not get in the house. They were not letting you in the house. We were outside for like 30 minutes.
Oh, fun. And then we fought Joey Beltran.
Huh.
He was fun.
Trying to think of who that is.
He fought in the UFC.
Okay.
He was bare knuckle, one of the first bare knuckle champs.
That thing's blowing up.
His Britton Hart is his ex-wife.
Oh, wow.
So
she's in bare knuckle.
She's bare knuckle.
She's like a
strawweight champ.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they were in an episode together, and he was fun. But you know what? The people that are trained to fight they're fun to film with too.
Right.
You know, because they get it and they're not going to. There were guys that thought they were tough. Guys that thought they were tough that's
another thing too.
I hit an Americana guy so hard.
What's funny
because he
is
just wouldn't he just wouldn't stop being a dummy in the fight. So I was like, dude, don't. And I gave him a little bump and gave him a little bump. Why don't you just change that camera?
Also, like a lot of guys would talk a lot of shit, and they would be like, "Oh, I'm gonna fuck these guys up. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that." Blah 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 blah. And then like when it comes down to it, like in the moment, they would like freeze.
Do nothing.
And they would do nothing. Yeah.
Or there would be a lot of guys that said that they trained.
Right.
Yeah. Or just like really like
and then Maury Povich would come out
gang,
and say,
like gang guys, you know, they're just like
gang guys were tough though.
Yeah, but there was a lot of gang guys that talked a lot of shit. Then they were like,
but the gang guys were some of the toughest guys,
yeah,
for sure. All right, we're gonna have to wrap this up because we keep losing a camera.
Keeps overheating. We're gonna have to invest in another
I'm gonna
camera.
have to throw that camera against a wall.
I don't know why the other one doesn't do it.
You made that one mad somehow. See how I blamed her.
Yeah.
But I think we've covered a lot of what we wanted to cover without making people angry.
We'll see.
Dude, I piss people off all the time. It's no big deal. But you know, it's important things. You know,
Sure.
people especially in Colorado, you need to understand the laws that are going on around you. You need to in other states pay attention to what's going on in Colorado, because if Colorado falls and the Supreme Court doesn't pick it up, any other states that are not super gun friendly are going to follow suit. And
hopefully
it's going to be.
Hopefully the Supreme Court does step in. But regardless if they do or not, definitely train.
Train.
Take a lot of classes from a lot of different people too.
See, I had this problem the other day, and I have this problem again today. I hate that we are state-specific laws. We are the United States of America. We should be governed by federal law, and federal law should be federal law.
Right.
Otherwise, we need to be 50 countries like Europe.
Mm-hmm.
And each state is its own country and can have their own laws and do what they want to do. But if we're all one country, then like I said it the other day, and
we can't be like one country and then each state have like their own shit going on.
That's exactly what
I shouldn't be able to buy
exactly what it is.
a half ounce of weed here, put it in a travel approved container to leave the store, put it in my car, and then get an emergency call that I've got to go pick up my daughter who flew to Louisiana and happened to be driving through Texas and get pulled over. And now I'm spending 10 years in prison because I had a half ounce of legal marijuana in my car. I mean, that's not something that should be able to happen within the boundaries of your own country. If I know the law of my country, I should know the law.
Right.
Like if I have to emergency go somewhere else, I shouldn't have to read an entire
research on freaking the internet if you can travel or whatever, you know,
But
what
just
the
think
laws are there.
how you can travel with a firearm, leaving Colorado, or let's say you're going from LA to New York by car.
Okay.
And you have to transport, you're moving. We'll not say New York because New York's almost impossible. We'll say whatever, you're going to Boston, but I have to travel all the way across the United States.
Right.
Where am I legal? Where am I not legal? What did I do that was okay when I left, but I'm a felon in this state?
Right.
Because of the way I'm transporting a firearm.
Sure.
That to me is not okay.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
Like it's federal law is federal law. It should be federal law.
And that happens. You know,
yeah.
Truckers, you know, a lot of times, you know, people think you're not allowed to have a firearm in a big truck in a commercial vehicle. But the problem is, other than company policy, right? Let's say the company's like, yeah, You know, if you're over the road and you're in Colorado today, but in 3 days you're in Jersey or New York, you got a problem.
Right. What are you going to do?
So what does someone do at that point?
Well, they shouldn't have had it with them, or I mean,
They got to lockbox it in a state that's legal and go back and get it, or ship it to an FFL.
I mean, non-compliance is the other thing.
Yeah.
That never happens.
I'm not encouraging that, but that's the one thing you got to realize too. With more regulation, just becomes more compliance.
Yeah, of course. You know? Yeah, I mean, just with anything.
Make it harder. People stop caring.
Everyone's gonna find ways, regardless.
Yeah, that's federal law should be federal law. And when a state tries to make a law like this, the Fed should just step in and go, dummies.
But that works backwards too, because federal law with the guns would help us. Federal law, you know, you're talking about marijuana. The state law,
but we're so close. We're so close.
Are you?
I think if it went to a point where federal law was going to be the law, marijuana would be one of the very first things that was federally passed.
Huh.
I mean, there's too many states already, and the Fed's not concerned.
Right.
States like Texas, that devil's lettuce. That's you might as well have 2 Saddam Husseins in your car.
Damn.
Because you're going, but I think federally marijuana would be very fast. Maybe.
I don't know why it hasn't yet.
Because they're too busy fighting about every other little thing. They should all smoke.
Everyone should just stop fighting.
I don't smoke weed, but I don't care.
I don't.
I think it should be legal everywhere. Right after people use their Second Amendment and defend their home.
There you go.
Without marijuana.
At the same time.
What does that meme say? I want my gay neighbors to be able to defend their marijuana plants with real guns.
Yeah.
That's funny.
That's me. Like that's how I feel about life.
Yes.
We do want to give a big thanks to Grind Hard Ammo. GrindHardAmmo.com. All American made, American manufactured. Everything there. Great. Top quality. Competition training rounds. And here's some premium training rounds. But they are great guys. Recently on board.
Sorry.
Open that up. Don't get us demonetized.
Yep. Looks like bullets.
Mm-hmm.
Freedom Seeds. No, they do a great job.
Nice.
And we appreciate our friends over there helping us keeping the fight moving and making sure that we're going in the right direction. I like those guys. I like them a lot.
GrindHardAmmo.com.
If you go to GrindHardAmmo.com right now, if you put Final Bell in, when you go to make your purchase, it's $10 off $249 or more.
Nice.
So
click of the link, people.
1,000 rounds. When you said $249, you're talking about
$249.
Right.
So $10 off. So basically, they're paying 10%.
Nice.
No, they're not. That's 3.5%.
It's a discount. $10.
It's $10 off $249 or more.
There you go.
So go there, find them. American made, American loving, red, white, and blue dripping.
What state are they made in?
That's Florida.
Oh, okay.
No.
That's Florida.
Cool.
Yeah, cool guys. Cool people, too.
Go check them out.
We have to film a promo for them.
Yeah.
Oh, we should come up and film a promo with you.
Let's do it.
Yep. I think I got some 223 over here, too. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll film something up there.
Let's do it.
All right, cool. I don't have it. Do you have anything?
No. Get your gun education, people.
Education, firearm education.
It's important.
You know what? Before we cut the episode, we're going to let a member ask a number right now. Give us a number. Oh, we already got 2.
Oh, geez.
1769.
Oh, boy. That was a great year.
That's your old ass. Knew it.
1769.
She was there.
Past life.
Same life.
She was a gunslinger.
1769.
This is an interesting one.
Ready.
What trap do you keep falling victim to?
Oh, easy. Self-sabotage.
Mm.
My number one trap.
Cursing.
Cursing?
Cursing?
You're trying to do without it?
Trying to.
Oh, don't hang around me.
Yeah, it's.
I'm bad.
Well, my full-time job, I work for a transportation company,
Right.
trucking company. So
Yeah.
There's a reason people say he cusses like a trucker.
Yeah, and I probably curse more than anybody.
Like
Definitely
Or a
the
sailor.
office.
Like a sailing trucker.
Yeah. Saline trucker.
What about you? What trap? What's your trap?
Probably, I would say in line with self-sabotage, but not self-sabotage, more so like self-doubt, I would say.
Imposter syndrome?
Yeah, definitely a lot of imposter syndrome sometimes. That happens a lot in like the creative realm of
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The
If
world.
you live in a creative space,
if
you
you're an
never believe-
artist or any kind, yeah, you never think you're good enough. Anyways, is there another question? Or no?
728, and then we're out. Yeah. I'm making numbers up mostly because I can't see that far. I'm probably close.
The pages. Oh, here we go.
You're first.
I can't be first. I'm reading. What is the biggest piece of wisdom you think our elders can offer? The elders of the world?
Fortune favors the brave.
What? Fortune favors the brave?
That's right.
Mine, I guess, would be valuable with your time, who you give your time to, because you can't get that shit back.
I think the elders would tell us to be kind.
Always.
No, they wouldn't.
Be kind, friends. The golden rule.
Depends on
no
which
one lives
elders.
by that anymore.
Because if it's Neanderthals, don't get eaten.
There you go.
Don't get eaten.
Don't get eaten. Be kind.
If it's religious elders, probably be kind.
If I was old, I'd say be honest.
Oh, be honest with yourself.
There you go.
First,
That's the hardest thing to do.
be honest with yourself. You know, it takes a lot to get to the age where you can just be on, like, you can put your shit out there faster than someone could
Oh, yeah.
find. I'm like,
Spread the rumor.
I make fun of myself for all of my shortcomings now more than I ever have in my life.
Oh, yeah. Full transparency.
Yeah, I don't care. Like, there's a lot of things I'm really bad at, and you don't want to see me do them. All right.
All right.
Look at that. It's a podcast.
We out.
Right on. Thanks for having me on. It was fun.
Jam Bacchus.
Thank you,
Full
Jam.
Armor website.
Full Armor FT for firearmstraining.com. Full Armor FT.
FullArmorFT.com.
We'll put a link in
It's
the
not
description.
fullarmorfucktrevor.com.
Do you have Instagram or any of that
Yeah,
stuff?
I got all
He's
that
got all the
stuff.
stuff.
All right,
We'll
all
put
right.
all your handles in.
Yep.
Yeah, my website will link you to all that.
Okay.
Cool.
Yep.
Perfect.
We will link the website in the description. It's probably on the screen right here.
I appreciate that.
See how that happened?
Put it there.
All right.
I'm hungry now.
Yeah, you haven't even fed me today. We gotta be going. We are out. Bye.
Bye.